You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
Look at that.
I was hoping that I'd be able to get the tongue thing in before, but Big Balls ended up chopping me out.
That
before.
tongue is becoming your intro staple.
Well, the thing is, it's my target. Every time I see it pop up, I try to position myself to hit it dead nuts in the center, and I airballed that one. Throw that one.
That was the Luth thing that Sam was referring on the last time. Which, speaking of Sam, he's not here.
No, good old Sam Melvin. I just actually was going through Instagram and Facebook, and I see Sam is in the wilderness. I think he's with the Donut Media guys now that he's a Donut employee. Oh, that's cool, Sam. Just go ahead and leave your friends hanging behind, Sam.
Hey, look at me! Look at me eating donuts.
I make more videos.
Donuts.
This is what we do for. Okay, Sam.
Jesse Wood and I would just walk through the woods, and I like his wood.
Yeah. Hey. Thanks, Paco. Anyways.
So that was Sam, by the way.
Yeah. You were doing
we totally like the donuts and Jesse Woods.
Yeah, I like.
We
Jesse.
don't like Sam though.
Sam is a lot more nasally than what you just impersonate him as.
That's right. I'm Sam. Hello, I'm Sam. Hi guys.
Hey Sam. Well, I have you here before you leave. I know you've been super busy.
I'm very busy. Don't talk to me. I have to go.
What did you do this weekend, Sam?
I shot videos at Formula Drift and I have to go.
Oh, cool. Well, have a good day, Sam.
You too.
Wow, that was thanks,
Ladies
Sam.
and gentlemen, Sam
All
and
right,
Alvin.
so we did have Sam and Alvin here for a minute, but now he ended up heading back to California. So guess what? You are stuck with Paco and myself, and I'm more out from this weekend, and I didn't even do anything.
How come,
dude? So, anyways,
I heard you won something. Tell us what happened. What did you do?
Well, before I tell them what we won, let's tell them what we were doing. So, as you guys all know, I was supposed to go out to Formula Drift Seattle and compete in the boss, and we had an engine failure. But you know what? This is about let's turn this into a positive. We're here for perseverance. We're here to be integrity, and we try to be the strongest men that men can be.
Maximum performance. Our set is falling over.
We got so strong, we just knocked some shit off our booth here. Yep. But anyways, back to our strong thing. So anyways, I was strong enough to load that thing up with the squadron, and we made it to Seattle, and we won 17th place qualifier from our friends at Destroyer.
Destroy from Seattle. They were nice enough to give you a best top 17.
Yep.
That's pretty much what it was.
And I would agree with that. Because I think anything after 16 really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But to have the first ever 17th place trophy, I would consider that accomplishment.
Yeah. Thanks, Shane.
Thanks, Shane from Destroyer. You are the best in the world. So, anyways, guys, the whole Maximum Driftcast team, as well as the Boss 14 Merca Motorsports guys, made it out there to hang out with the AEM booth.
Yeah,
which was a great time.
That was a big success in my eyes. Like, we had guests, we had a lot of fans, we had rompers, we had American pants.
Yep.
We had what else we had, Corey?
We had pizza for like 4 days in a row.
I can eat pizza in like a month.
Dude, when we were out there, we were like, because if you guys ever been to Everett or Evergreen Speedway, there's like I don't know, like if you go down the street, there's like 4 shopping centers that are just super small. And so it was like Little Caesars Pizza, Red Robin,
and Red Rocket,
all in the same plaza. And so it's like, all right, what do you guys want to eat? And it's like, fuck, we're going to have pizza again. So we had pizza for like 3 days. So other than winning 17th place and eating lots of pizza, I would say it was a success. But unfortunately, we didn't have any type of success on the track, which it doesn't matter because, at the end of the day, we still went out there. We still put on a show. We did a great Q&A with the drivers. Dude.
We're still winners.
We're still wieners. And the thing is during the halftime show, we've been doing this at some of the Formula Drift rounds, which has been super awesome because we've been working with a lot of the K&N and AM guys. So we had like Turk, Forsberg, Kaufman, Honadell, Kristaps, Osbo, and Field all swing by.
Yeah.
And actually, do you know what's cool is the Q&As that we have done with them? It's pretty responsive by the fans, and they ask some really solid questions.
Yep.
Like, what was some questions?
What's your favorite color? They ask Hanadel.
Yeah,
very extremely solid question.
We try to keep it elementary so everybody can understand. So the questions that we do get from our fans, we keep it basic. We also, awesome, this is probably one of the best things of the whole weekend, is we did get free hot dog certificates to Circle K from
the best thing ever.
So we were doing a Q&A, and one of our dudes walked up and gave us 2 free hot dogs from Circle K, and then they also brought more up because they felt bad because Osbo and Hunter was there.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can't have them not eat either. So they provided Osbo.
Hot dog galore.
Yeah. So
by the way, I just noticed right now, Ryan Martin just informed us that Shane just became a dad today. His pregnant wife was at the track this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were expecting like in a week, and I just noticed that right now. He became a dad today. Congrats, Shane. Congratulations, you
Shane
guys.
from Destroyer, that
From
is.
Destroyer,
Because there's
yeah.
probably a million Shanes out there.
Well, yeah, just, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Shane from Destroyer, the guy who got you your trophy.
Wow.
He just became a dad, so congrats, dude.
Awesome. Congrats. Just had a drift baby.
Yeah. So you were saying, so yeah, the hot dogs for everybody.
Yeah, so we had a hot dog party, and then we watched competition and qualifying, which the competition was actually really good. I think it was one of the best events.
In both Pro 2
In both Pro 2
yeah.
and Pro 1. The driving was unbelievable. And the thing is, you talk to a lot of the drivers, and maybe you guys heard this in some of the interviews, even like James Dean was like, yeah, this is one of the biggest pain-in-the-ass tracks to drive on because it's so long and fast. And then you have Kristaps when we interviewed him in our
At the
at the booth. He was telling the track that he hates the track. And,
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's just, once again, it's one of those tracks that kind of puts some wear and tear on equipment, and it's tough to get a hold of. And it's, once again, I don't want to say it's similar to a Long Beach, but it's from wall to wall to wall, right? There's only coming off the bank is the only place where there's plenty of room in runoff.
Yeah,
because when you transition back, when you transition
back,
you're going to the second outer zone, and then when you transition for that inner clip, once again you're facing another wall. But yeah, it's wear and tear on it. But anyways, outside of that, awesome show. FD did an awesome job putting it together. It was one of the most talked about, and there was a lot of controversial calls over the weekend too. That was kind of swaying back and forth.
More than controversial, they were like opposites. Like everybody was driving so good. I remember when we were up in the grandstands watching. Everybody was like, "Oh, who's gonna win? This guy or this guy?" I was like, "Geez, hard to tell." We were literally leaving it to the judges, and even the judges, you could tell. Like one was like this guy, the other one was the other guy.
Well, I think may have been won more times this event than any event so far this year. And just Forsberg and Castro went 3 times.
Yeah.
Osbo and Dean in the finals went twice.
Yeah, twice. And even the final decision was a split decision.
Yep.
So definitely, there was something about the track. There's something. I don't know if it's because like the driving is just getting up to the same level on everybody, which is a good thing. That's what it should be, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Oh, no. That's the whole point is like, with the whole Pro 1, Pro 2 bracket, the way they broke it up is I think they want a more solid 32 bracket.
Yeah.
So it is that, like even you talk to some of the drivers now, like, the top 10 ranking guys, it's like there's no easy battle in top 32 anymore. When before it's like, hey, maybe one guy got lucky in qualifying and they made it in the bracket, so he finished qualified 32nd. Yeah, maybe the first place qualifier is going to have it easy. But now it's like you had Hanadel, I think, qualifying with a 71 and last, but Hanadel laid a gnarly chase run on Osbo. But that's the thing is, there's a big separation between Pro 1 and Pro 2 in that there's no easy pass in Pro 1, but even now it's to a point where Pro 2 is like, man, everybody's stepping their game up.
Yep, I mean it's definitely that. I think this is a taste of what we're gonna be seeing in the future. More tight battles, more high level driving from everybody. Like
right.
a lot of the drivers that usually don't do that good, they were taking away the drivers who usually do great. I like it. I think I love the scattering of points, with exception obviously. I mean, James Dean is still like on top. It looks like he's gonna be unstoppable. I think at this point it's almost. It's not guaranteed.
Well, let's have Big Balls pull up the points standings right now. Hey, Big Balls, can you hit the point standing real quick? Let's see where they're standing right now, because coincidentally, the guys that was 1 and 2
the points
finished first and second.
The points, Brian,
in the series. Yeah, let's go
the
ahead and get
the other window.
hit the
There you go.
standings. Okay, there we are right there. Let's see what we got. We have the good old James Flick the Dean Bean with 475 leading it. And then you have Osbo with 418.
So he's 57 points behind the leader.
And Kristaps is Brian. Keep it up there real quick. I have a hard time saying. Kristaps is 329 points with 144 points behind. Then you have Odie in fourth.
That's crazy, man.
Let's go through top five. You have Odie in fourth, Essa in fifth with 295. You have Turk in sixth, Vaughn in seventh,
Matt Kaufman in
Cat
eighth.
Moffman
Cat
in
Moffman.
eighth. And then you have Dye in ninth and Kearney in 10th.
And look at that, like Peter being a rookie of. He's only a rookie, right?
I don't know, Brian, scroll down all the way. Let's make sure Peter's the only rookie.
I think.
Nope,
Dan Burkett, yeah. Taylor Hall and Georgie, they're also rookies. But yeah. So he's in 11th position, Peter. Yeah. So it's pretty good place for a rookie.
Let's go through this real quick. Go to the top again there, big balls. Okay, so you have Osbo with 57 and down 57 points in second. Kristaps a negative 146, and I think it looks like a total points you can get per round is about 100 if you win. So you kind of look at that. You qualifying, I think you get up to who qualified first in Seattle?
Seattle, it was James. No, this year.
This year we're going over this year. Yeah, so James Dean. So you get
Dean.
7 points in qualifying, and then 100 points win. So you can get a total of 107 points per round. So if you look at like Osbo 57 points, if James Dean goes down like top 32 and Osbo wins, he could potentially take the first spot in Texas. Kristaps has a lot to do to win the championship. James and Frederick would have to have a bad run at it. So it's kind of getting to a point where it's locking down to James and Frederick being the only ones that could really win the championship at this point, unless they have completely catastrophic failures going into Texas and Irwindale.
Can we look real quick the point standings on Pro 2 as well? I think it's right there. Let's see, real quick. Pro 2, there you go. So in Pro 2, we have in first place Travis Reeder, who's been a total machine this season. Yet he didn't do that great this round.
It's all good. He did good, and then
but he did pretty good. He's still on top with 228 points.
Vatman Kirk, 208. He's down 20 points.
He did great this weekend. He drives like a maniac, dude. Yeah. Great driving. And that's his hometown. He knows that racetrack perfectly, and you can tell he did awesome.
And then you have Dirk the Diggler Stratton.
Dirk Diggler Stratton, Strapon.
He's
sorry, Dirk.
Come on, Pac. Keep it PG-13 at least.
154.
He's down 74 points. We have one more round going into Texas. Then you have Kevin Lawrence in fifth.
No, you have Josh Robinson in fourth with a Ute, the Australian pickup car.
Yep. Kevin Lawrence in fifth. Brody Goebel sixth. Randall Waters seventh. Brandon Schmidt ninth, and then Georgie. So Georgie's competing.
He's running both.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Okay, well that's good.
Oh, and Dylan Hughes is running 12th.
Dude, that's okay. So that was the talk of the town right there, because Dylan Hughes came to this round, like before. That was his first race. It was going to be the same situation with you, and he came and finished second place overall. Again, he had the final race with Matt Van Kirk. Again, he did so many one more times. Like he drove 2 events already.
Right.
And he's already on 12th position.
He had
just one round.
That's what one event can do to you, especially if you perform as well as he did. He finished second, got 80 points, got 4 points in qualifying.
Next to Danny
did
George,
a top 3.
Come on, Danny, get up there.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So overall, I think it was a great event. I think we have some people here that we're going to get on the phone in just a minute. But the only bad side about that whole event was it was so freaking hot. And then Canada decided to have a wildfire.
Yeah, they're like, those Canadians, man, like, oh, let's just have a fire in the same weekend as Formula Drift.
Well, I think what happens is Seattle smokes out Canada all the time with Formula Drift coming into town. So they're like, oh, it's always this time.
This time we're
going to
smoke
them out.
Wow, Corey.
So the Canadians and Ryan Lanteigne, the lawnmower man, he was probably the influencer behind that.
I wonder, like, look, speaking of influences.
Oh, we got some beeping sounds going on over here. I think we might get somebody on the horn to answer this very crucial question.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Look at that. That's a
Ryan Lanteigne looks like he turned into a little black
puppy.
Labrador.
Is that a Labrador? Or a Labradoodle?
Labradoodle dandy.
Oh, there it is.
Here you go, Ryan. Here you go. Oh, I got a treat. Get that, Maggie. Get it.
And then you have Bryan Eggert over here with a little milk bone. Oh, I guess. Is that what we're having for dinner tonight? Milk bone. Come get your milk bone, boys.
Wow. Wow, you guys.
The dog likes to use the computer when I'm not using it.
Oh, your dog. What was your dog?
He's the one. He's the one who answered the call.
She's a she. She's
Oh.
Maggie.
And she
Hi,
was probably
Maggie.
on what, Dog Hub or what's another one?
He was watching.
She was on Corey's personal Facebook page.
Oh, what a sweetheart!
What a little.
I was
sweet
wondering why I was
puppy.
getting weird messages from you. She must have been on your account messaging me from your Facebook.
Yes, that was her.
Well, I was wondering. She's like, "Can you get me a bone?" I'm like, Ryan, like, come on, dude. I can't do that to you, there, bud. So, anyways, Ryan, we have some serious questions for you first, Ryan Lanteigne. We were talking about, the event and things like that. And we were talking about, some terrible things at the event. And one of the biggest ones was, why did you decide to start the fire in Canada that really smoked out the venue?
Hey, that was not me. That's the other coast. That was not me.
That wasn't you
I
at
mean,
all?
it's Canada. It's the same country. Everything.
Canada's the same thing.
Yeah. They all like poutine, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big country, though. It was not me, I promise.
Wow, I didn't expect that. That's not what we heard. Because I would have judged you about a 9 on that.
Thanks for ruining the joke, though.
Yep, thanks. Thanks, Lanteigne.
I will not take part.
And then, hi, Brian. We can see you. Brian.
Hi, how's it going?
We're good. You guys have your headphones on, and it looks like you guys are ready for business.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much business we're going to get done, but
we're going
to
get
get something done.
Some business will get done tonight. So, where should we start, Corey?
Do you know, because me and Paco before the show, we were talking about, I was like, man, what do we ask these guys? Like, of course, when we see you guys, we say hi and things like that, and we're super friendly. But you posted something today, Lanteigne, that was of D-Mac's car when he was sponsored by, was it Sears? The Sears and that you said something along the lines like, this is when you were a fan spectating. How long ago was that?
That was 2009.
2009.
Yep.
So was that your first year getting into FD? Was in 09?
No, I knew about FD before that. That might have been my first. I think that might have been the first event that I attended in person. I drove down. I lived in the West Coast at that time, and we drove down for the weekend from Alberta. I lived in Fort Mac, up in northern Alberta. So it was like I don't know, how long was that drive? I forget now. It was a long drive, but it was worth it. We had a lot of fun. I didn't know anybody. I knew Jared at the time because he used to come to Canada to help us out. So I saw him there. He was a lot fatter then, but yeah, I knew him then. That was it, though.
Is that your dog in the background?
She's very thirsty.
Wow.
Well, that's from being on the internet on Corey's page.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was your dog or it was Corey drinking water, because that's exactly how Corey sounds.
That's Paco usually puts a bowl here. Yeah. So that was in 2009. You were at FD, and I'm assuming you saw how much fun Tony Angelo was having as a judge, and he said, I really want to take that spot.
I want to be that guy.
That's actually the year that Dai Yoshihara rode off the Lexus.
Oh.
So I have a couple of pictures of that as well. That was when I first learned how dangerous, I guess, drifting can be. We were drifting at the time. That was my second year competing in DMCC up there, but I don't know, maybe our tracks were slower. I just didn't realize what you could do to your car and to yourself at the time until I saw Dai, and that really made me go, wow, this is a seriously dangerous motorsport. Of course, they've changed that track since then, made it a lot safer. But it was a bit of a wake-up call at the time.
And that was FD Seattle, I'm assuming, the same event you saw D-Mac's car?
It was, yeah, that was the same thing. That just came up on my feed today saying, here's a memory from 2009. So I thought it was fitting because we were just there. So pretty cool.
And, speaking of that, you said Dai had a big hit in the wall. I think the hardest hit this weekend was, Austin Meeks buried one into the fence?
Yeah, he did. I hope he's okay. I saw him afterwards. He seemed fine, but I don't know about the car. Do you?
Yeah, I saw Dylan Hughes was leading during that run, and I don't know who was filming him, but they did a slow-mo of Dylan in the lead position, and so they have a great slow-mo, like high-quality slow-mo of Austin, like shows him kind of like checking up and then pitching the car right into the fence. Yeah. And dude, it was a yard sale. Yeah, it looked like he was okay, and it was funny because when we were walking up to the stands to watch Pro 2, Jared was on the announcement doing some announcing, and he was saying, "Oh, looks like Austin Meeks may have some technical difficulties. We'll see as he's getting out here." In the meantime, we're standing next to him. And he's getting ice cream.
Getting an icy.
At the we're like, yeah, he's probably not going to make us. He's standing right
gonna
next to us, getting an icy.
And funny thing is also we were talking to his crew chief a little bit earlier, and he was talking about I think it's an AEM or K&N. K&N carbon fiber intake that the K&N guys had custom made for him. He was like, yeah, it looks great, it works awesome. After that, he was sitting up there with us like, yeah, that K&N intake doesn't exist anymore.
Just turn it into
shreds.
Yeah. But that's the thing
is
is
that his jinx then? He's responsible.
Oh yeah, because he was telling us what pride and joy that thing was, and it was like $1,200 for this carbon intake that's went off, and then they buried it. But yeah, but going back to the whole thing is the sport has escalated now where the cars are way faster. Shit like that does happen, and this is what the second year with the Hans device now, second or third year.
More than that, yeah. Trying to remember, it's got to be 3 or 4 now.
I think it's probably 4 or 5. I remember they met with someone at Road Atlanta for one of the rounds. I can't remember if it was 2012 or 13.
Yeah, and then once again, that just goes to show, like, obviously the safety of the sport is increasing with the progression of these cars. But even going further back, you look at like 2010, who was it? Jim Guthrie, who crashed into the wall at Irwindale, and he had neck and back problems. And once again, it was just one event too short when that rule should be implemented into the series. But
see, some people had the Hans device at that time, and I remember him saying afterwards, I had my Hans device, it was in the trailer, but it wasn't mandatory, and none of the other drivers, or maybe a couple were wearing it at that time, and he saw it as a disadvantage to wear it when other drivers weren't.
Right.
So I guess that was probably the year before.
Yeah, you got lucky now. So yeah, I appreciate that, what FD's doing with the rules, Kevin and all the guys. But
Sure.
Going back to Seattle and things like that, Paco and I were discussing, before we get too much into the round, let's talk more about your guys' background and why it's okay for you guys to be judges and not us, and what it takes to be a judge. So going back, Ryan, just both of you guys, going right back, it's funny because you posted that picture 5 years ago as a fan. Did a lot happen over to the now where you are a judge, or was it something you always want to do, or how did you guys get in that position to say, do you know what, I'm fit for this position?
So I used to work for DMCC since the beginning. They started in 2004. It was a college friend who started it up, and we just started it up. I went up with him to the track. It was actually at San Eustache, the first event, and that was in 2004 in the fall. I think it was October. So I started working with him then. I did a lot of different roles within DMCC at the time. Started doing demo drives in 2007, got noticed, got picked up by BFG in 2008, 2009, and then I got dropped. So that off season, the organizers said, hey, do you want to come judge? We have an opening. So I judged in Canada in 10, and that's when Tony was coming up there to help us. And I worked with Tony for the season, and near the end, he said, we might have an opening in FD. It sounds like Ernie Fixmer might be leaving. So I went down for an interview. I happened to be down there for something, and I went and met Jim and Ryan at FD, and they said, sure, come on board. It sounds like you've got, good background. And I never had the idea. I never thought that I'd be a judge. I never even gave it a second thought, really. It just kind of happened. I guess I was in the right place at the right time. Had I not lost my ride, I probably wouldn't be right now. But I don't think I would have gone anywhere with the driving, so this is probably for the best for me. It's just in Canada, there's no real opportunity to go beyond what we were doing at the time. Mark Longeville, I guess, is probably the most successful one to come down, and even with his talent, he's having a hard time, making it work, mainly financially. I think he has the skill if he could develop it. So anyway.
What about you there, Brian? Leg farts?
Is that your first drift car behind you? That red rocket?
That's my daughter's Porsche Power Wheel.
Nice.
Oh, good job on slamming his daughter's car, Paco.
Called it something.
God.
Wow.
Way to go. No, I got into cars and drifting around 98, 99. My buddy got a mint Corolla GTS. I mean, it was so nice. He would park it and put a car cover over it. So I immediately started looking for another one just like it. Got it. And then I had that probably for a year or two. And then, or before that, I even found a barn find one that I got for $400 and then sold it to a friend who still has that one. But then I found a nicer one from a girl that put it into a tree. And then I drifted that one at a few events locally, then did my first competition was at Beaver Run. I think at the first Hyperfest they did it, what is now shoot, I can't think of what the track's called now. I think it's called Pit Race. But I did it there, and I think actually some of the DA guys were running that event that day. And then shortly after that, I got into helping the guys run an event that started US Drift. So I was doing that from there on. And I first met Jim and Ryan. Tony Schultz from Georgia got to test out Road Atlanta before they put the loop in, which was just the S's. And he contacted me and my buddy Mike, my friend Jerry in Raleigh, and then also Ben Swartz from Florida. And so we all went down to Road Atlanta, and they basically got to test the downhill, come up to the bridge, turn around, and go back down. So everything minus the loop. And so they ran that day. I shot pictures on a film SLR, and then I believe it was Jim and Ryan that were there that day, and then I sent them my photos from it, which are posted up on the US Drift page. But I think it was like January of maybe 2003. So it was probably a year before the first FD round there. So that was first time meeting them, had a blast. And then for the next 7-8 years, I would still go back to Road Atlanta and hang out with the Team Rowdy guys. We would just have a blast partying at that event. I would go to a lot of the wall events. And then when Tony left, I guess I saw there was an opportunity for it. It was early in the spring, and I guess they still hadn't announced a judge. So someone hit me up and said, you should contact them. So I had been judging for some of our US Drift events we had done that whole time as well, for Hyperfest and a couple others. And then I helped run the XDC event. So I called them up, and they didn't have anybody else that was interested. And they said, let's think about it. And about a week later, they said, okay, you can have it. So doesn't hurt to call people and be persistent, I guess.
Yeah, no, and that was like, you came in at a super interesting time during the whole judging thing, because with Tony Angelo, a lot of people's had this thought that, is the most biased judge because he's Drift Alliance, Chris Forsberg, Ryan Turk, Von Gittin Jr., and everybody was kind of complaining or assuming that, if you're DA, you're automatically going to win. And so even now to today, everybody cracks the joke that, Chris Forsberg gets to win.
Yeah.
But you replaced somebody that everybody thought, is most controversial. Taking that spot, how was it feeling for Tony, and was the response what you expected?
Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, I can't remember if it was Joey or somebody had actually pulled numbers and found out that he actually was harsher against DA drivers than he was against other ones. So I find it funny that everyone would always just jump on his case. But I think if you go back and find, I can't remember who did it, but I'm sure Joey or somebody would know, or Jacob, maybe one of them did it, I think, and found out that he wasn't that biased. Coming in, it was just different because judging from Pro-Am to that was just such a step up. It took me a couple rounds to get really comfortable, and then I think once that happened, it was just fine. Andy and Ryan are great, and they were good to work with right away. And a lot of the people that are on the staff had always commented, like after that first season, that we actually got along with each other well. I mean, we were out there painting and doing stuff. So, I mean, everyone seemed great and everyone got along. So I think that's what's kind of helped make this work for us over the years. I mean, we tried stuff at the beginning that was super technical because that's what some of the drivers and sponsors wanted. We've now gotten looser, which I think is a lot better for the sport. I think the last 2-3 years have been really well and well received from fans and drivers alike. So I think we're definitely onto something and getting it really close to being maybe not perfect, but about as good as you can get it. And if you watch any of these events this year, the tandem is just amazing. So I like to hope that some of that's partly due to what we're looking for as judges.
Funny that you mentioned, like, you said painting and all that. A lot of people don't know that you guys, before getting into the judging thing, you guys set up the track and you walk it, and you personally, you set the K rails, and like in this case, weren't you guys even like mixing cement or concrete to cover a pothole that was at the track? I think you guys were doing that yourselves.
We didn't have to do the concrete, but I'm sure if it hadn't gotten done, we would have been out there doing it just to make the event happen. Normally, we don't do the K walls; we just do the painting and the designing of the course. But this time, the track had a miscommunication on when the event started, I think because we had Pro 2 this year. So we showed up that morning and it hadn't been painted, and it hadn't been, the K-walls hadn't been done. So we went ahead and just, Ryan and them hopped in a lull and started moving around, and Kevin was moving the other one, and we just started putting the K-walls in place so we could get stuff ready, because it was going to be a 13-hour day. So we wanted to make sure everything stayed on schedule.
Yeah, but it's not that you don't just judge. You are part of the Formula Drift team, as far as like making sure that the track is safe, that the layout is exactly how you want it. I mean, you just don't show up, judge, and leave.
Correct.
That's
See,
cool.
I think
we want the show to be as good as possible.
Exactly.
I think that's a crock of shit.
Yes, call it.
Yeah,
Corey.
I
I
was-
mean, you could have been there helping us.
No,
you weren't driving that
dude,
weekend, so
no,
you could have been there
I
helping
know.
us.
I should have been. I did watch you guys dig up some concrete off the asphalt
Oh,
and
thanks.
chuck it in the stands. I was
That is right.
definitely there for some moral support, but yeah, that's the thing is the position you guys have is probably the most difficult position to have in any drifting organization in the world, I'd say. Like, it's definitely not the easiest because I think you guys are looked at as the guys who are setting the bar, right? A lot of these other drifting organizations around the world kind of look at FD as the premier series, and then they look at you guys as like, oh, this is kind of what we base everything off of. And I personally feel that you guys have a lot of weight on your shoulders, not only just per the event, but for every other drifting organization. With you,
Yep.
Bryan, how has this affected the way you judge and work your events, now being involved with FD for as long as you have?
I stopped judging in my events, and then I've got my own guys that do it and kind of follow the same rules as we do it. And I've concentrated more on making the event a little bit better, and I try to help some of the drivers out, whether it's getting sponsors or putting proposals together. I just really want them to progress in the sport. And not all my drivers want to go pro. Some of them just like to compete. Some want to have fun. But I really try to make it as good as I can for them so that way in 50, 60 years from now when they're old and they look back on it, they actually have like memories and had a good time and a blast, and it's something special to them. So hopefully that works. I mean, that's the same for the guys that do FD. I feel like these guys are going to look back one day and see what a great time they had as professional drivers. So the guys who can't make it pro, I still want them to have that same kind of fun that they have and be able to enjoy it. And whether or not they want to move on or not, it's entirely up to them. But I still have quite a few guys who have good jobs and just do it for fun.
Nice.
Nice.
And then for you, Ryan, talking about this a little bit, you've been judging for how long now? How many years?
Well, I guess since 2010 in Canada, since 2011 with Formula D.
Okay, 2011. So that was, once again, as I think Bryan mentioned this earlier, in 2011, would you consider that the most technical time for drifting as far as people wanting specific data, it seemed very not so much about the line style and angle. Speed was implemented. It just seemed very structured. A lot of people wanted a lot of information, and it's changed a lot up until now. What was it like then, and what is it compared to as now?
When I got in, it wasn't as technical as it peaked out to be, let's say. The sponsors, we'd have meetings, teams would say, we don't understand, we need to sit down, our sponsors aren't happy, let's go sit down. So we'd go in their race trailer, whatever it is, and try to explain to the sponsors what the reasoning was behind some of the calls that we made. And they felt that it was a little bit too emotion based. Maybe they said we need to have more technicality to this. There needs to be a way to measure the results, because I suppose maybe they came from the racing side of things where that was the case. They could look at things and measure success. So a couple of years after that, I think, is when we got to the peak of the annoying intricacy to the judging that we all look back on with disdain now. At the time, it was a response to a demand from a lot of teams and drivers. I didn't like doing it at the time, I guess, but we felt that we had to. And I think Bryan would agree with me when we say that we didn't really like it, but we tried to make everybody happy at that time. And I think it was necessary, because we wouldn't be where we are now had we not gone that extreme. It needed to happen. And a lot of the people that I talk to at different series around the world, they kind of laugh at that time in our history. And they say, you know, you guys, you really screwed things up for us because we ended up following what you were doing.
Right.
And, most of those series are a couple of years behind us. So some of them are just coming off of that now and kind of adopting a more laid back attitude towards drifting. Not laid back in terms of letting things go, but just being a little bit more towards the style aspect of things. And I think that having that history has given us the ability to be where we are now. And as much as we look down upon that, I think it was necessary. So it was rough. It got really, really difficult to do the inputs because we were down to half points.
Oh yeah.
For little infractions that were just ridiculous. And looking back on it now, I think that we hurt the driving at the time because people were scared to be really pushing the envelope, you know, and driving the way that we want to see them drive now. Now we give them the openness, if you will, to do that. They're able to make small mistakes here and there that in the past would have given them a full out 0.
Yeah.
But if their run is really great otherwise, then you could say, you know what, you put on like a 98 point run the 2 points that I took off were for that mistake, as opposed to giving you a 0. You know, if you really get down to numbers, I know we don't do numbers, but if you really looked at it in that way, I think now it's much better. The driving is consistently more aggressive and more entertaining. But we can still look at the errors and compare drivers' errors and say, you know what, he made a small one, you made a really big one. His wasn't as bad. He deserves to move on because of that, as opposed to, well, he got a 0 and your run was crap, but because your crap run didn't 0 out, you get to move on.
Right.
I think that frustrated a lot of people. So I'm really happy with where we are now.
Well, that's the other thing too that we were talking about is, you know, back then in 2011, 2012, that's I think where a lot of the heat started coming down on you guys. You know, I think everybody looked at that time, the judging is this way because the judges are making the rules this way, when technically the judging was based on the influence of what some of the team and sponsors wanted at that time. So it's like, oh man, these judges are just pain in the ass. And you can go back to that one particular run in Florida where Forsberg knocked a cone over and ended up losing that battle. But at that time, it's like, that's what you guys had to deal with because that's what everybody wanted for data. So it's like, okay, you guys are asking for this information from us, so we're going to abide by this for what you guys want. You want very strict 2 tires off, 3 tires off is a 0. Even a mild bobble is a big correction. 1 tire's off a big correction. You knock a cone over, that's a 0. You hit a clip, that's a 0. That's what the sponsors wanted at that time. So you guys were abiding by that, but then everybody looks at you guys as the big jerk face assholes because, oh, you're going by the rules, and I think that was that point, and as a judge looking at it now, that's where you guys started getting the heat.
Yeah, you're probably right. We're the face of the sports results, right? They're gonna need a way to let out their frustration somewhere, and we're it. And I get that a lot of times the fans aren't mad at us necessarily. They're mad at the result. They feel like, you know, the driver that they support, the driver that they like lost. They might feel that they won. We have a set of rules that we have to play within. Yes, they're a little more open now than they used to be, but we still have some rules that we need to play by. We give all the drivers all the information. Whether they listen to it or not is another story. That's sometimes where a little bit of frustration on our part comes in when a driver completely ignores what we say in the meeting. They go out and do their own thing on track. They don't win, and then they get mad. And it was written in the drivers' meeting up on the TV, don't do this, do this. And then they go and do the thing they're not supposed to. They get mad, and then other fans jump in behind them. And this has happened multiple times. Mm-hmm. So there's I don't know how to even say it. We try to be as honest as we can. We don't like putting the drivers' meeting out to everybody. We try to give the information out that was given out in the meeting. But sometimes I understand the fans can't watch every single second of our live broadcast to get all the information. So sometimes some of it gets lost. But we're up there to do a job. I tell this to everybody. I'm not shy to say it. I don't care who wins. I'm not up there hoping that somebody does better, or it really doesn't matter to me. I'm a fan of the sport, but I'm not a fan of any specific driver. So I'm just doing the best I can with the information that we have. And sometimes a situation arises where I go, I know that's going to be controversial, but I have to go with the way the rules are written. Right. And sometimes it is controversial. Sometimes it's not, oddly enough. Sometimes things that we think is going to be controversial, everybody's like, yeah, that's cool. And then things that we think is going to be cool, people go, oh, that wasn't cool. And then we have issues where we need to come talk to you guys on the show. But it happens. But I think that we've all learned how to deal with the heat from the internet. Right. Everybody has a voice now. Sometimes the voices don't all agree, and that's totally fine. I like that people have that voice and they get to voice their opinions. And sometimes we get to learn from different situations, whether it's positive or negative. And we're always changing the rules anyway. Every year, we always make updates. So if we can learn something from somebody along the way and bring that forward with us to make the sport better, then we absolutely will.
Right. So talking about the transition of the sport, kind of going back to Bryan now, was it 2013 to 2014 you guys removed speed as one of the judging criteria? Why was that?
We found out that you couldn't take a accurate speed with the speed gun, depending on if there was 2 cars. There's no way to differentiate which one was setting the speed. The other issue was it was only hitting the peak point. So if one car is faster than the other and it picks up the faster car, we don't know what the slower car was doing. And we also found out some drivers were just accelerating to that speed point. Then once they knew they were going to hit that speed, they drastically reduced speed, which is the whole reason now we have like that Excel decel map. But we didn't want people to do that and cause accidents, and just running real fast to hit that speed point was messing up the rest of the course and causing a lot of choppiness. So eliminating it altogether kind of seems to have worked better, I'd say, the last 4 or 5 years or however long it's been, because the tandem's better. I know there's still some guys that want speed in there and they bring it up every once in a while, but looking at what we have now versus then, I don't see a good enough cause or a better way to do it without, say, telemetry that would work well for us to aid in our judging.
Yeah, to even get
the
that
weather.
Yeah, even to get that data off the speed, if you were to do some sort of telemetry system on that, it would be a lot more time consuming, and it would definitely probably slow down the show if you have to plug into their engine management to get the GPS off the car.
Not to mention, I think the speed, like the only thing that should come into play is when we're trying to find out if somebody's trying to scrub speed or not, because in reality, I don't think like nobody should be prized for going faster than the other car, otherwise it'll be actual racing.
Well, what was the purpose? What do you guys feel the purpose for the speed judging was? Was it just that
balls?
Well, yeah. What was the purpose of the speed?
It is more exciting when you go fast, so I get that. And I think at some tracks it would be neat if we actually still had speed just for the announcers to let people know.
I would agree with that.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, watching somebody drift the same course, obviously the one faster, if they both hit the right angle, the right clips, and do style, obviously faster is probably going to be better. But it's hard for us at this level right now without a good way of being able to pull that information quickly to do it. So we just eliminated it altogether, and it just seems to work better.
So the thing is, with the horsepower level that we have now, nobody's going to be slow. There's no reason to have speed. If you watch somebody go through the track, sure, 5 miles an hour faster, it's not going to make a difference. You're not going to see that difference. Like Brian said, being accurate is more important. Right. The other thing about speed that's bad is the weather. What happens if it starts dry in qualifying or even in competition and then gets wet halfway through, or vice versa? Makes things really, really difficult to be consistent through bad weather.
That makes sense, because back in 2012, when I drove with you guys, you would judge that, and it was in New Jersey. I remember New Jersey specifically. We drove practice in the dry, and that's where you got your speed data from. And then about midway through qualifying, it started raining. So your obviously speed is not going to be that 45 miles an hour. So then what are you going to do? Cut that speed rating in half and saying, okay, well now the speed is going to be 25. Yeah. And then everybody goes through at 28. They get the 10 points, but the guys that did it in the dry, they were within a couple points of that. That would be very, very difficult to do. And now I totally understand, because I was kind of curious on why that was, but now it makes total sense. The other question for you guys, do you feel the driving has gotten smoother? And this was kind of going off of Brian's saying. Do you think the driving and competition has gotten smoother now that you remove speed?
When you say smoother, do you mean like not as much on-off throttle and that kind of stuff? Or
more fluidity, like, just an overall smoother looking run? Like, obviously there's not...
I would say so. Because before, depending on where we put the speed gun, especially like, say, Irwindale, I think we used to have it, was it coming off the bank right by that first inner clip? I think people would gun it really fast and then have to brake and pour a lot of angle on as they go back into the inside infield or whatever for the outer zone too. I think now if you watch it, they do it still similar, but it's more fluid, I think, just because they don't have to accelerate to that very last moment and get that really high speed, and then they can do it a little bit more gradual, I guess. So it looks better now, would be my thing.
So the other thing that I was looking at, obviously I was observing this weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, I sat in the spotter stand quite a bit, right below you guys. I don't know if you guys saw my Nickelback shirt, but I wore that from Ryan.
I did see it. It was what, 2010 tour?
Yeah, 2010 tour shirt. I wore that for the Canadian friend Ryan. Speed is not a judge, but I think the natural progression of competition is if you see somebody faster, you're going to do something to be as quick as them. But what you see the spotters doing now is they're timing sectors of the track. And that's judging speed. Okay, so-and-so's running 8 seconds to get through the bank. Okay, well, I'm running 10 seconds, so I'm obviously slower. So you're seeing now teams implement their own ways to find speed rather than have you guys use a speed gun. So I think the progression of the sport, drivers and teams are always going to find their own ways to come up with a strategy to keep up with that other car. I'm happy you guys got rid of speed. And, you look at the time when Forrest was there. Forrest was probably one of the slowest cars, but probably one of the more exciting ones to watch.
At the beginning, he was one of the slowest, but he eventually picked up more grip, I guess. But yeah, absolutely.
Forrest was always stylish, and Forrest qualified high at a lot of events. I mean, speed wasn't always an issue. Even when we took it, Forrest would still sometimes qualify high, and if he lost 10 style points or speed points, he still usually end up qualifying pretty good. So even like what was it this year? He did well at what was it, the Super Drift? He came and did. I think he won one of the rounds of it.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, Forrest can drive, and we've all known this for ages. So I just think even if you're a little bit slower car, even if he still competed, people just need to adapt and be able to chase a slower car. He would have to obviously speed up to chase a faster car, but it's all definitely doable things without calculating speed anymore. So I think that the smarter teams are the ones that know who's a slow car and how to follow them.
We saw a little bit of that on Pro 2 with Josh Robinson. Apparently, a lot of people are saying that his Ute is a little slow in comparison to with the top drivers.
Well, I'd say part of that's due to him having to run a tire size smaller than what he's accustomed to.
Okay, so he's just not putting enough traction. It's not that the car is underpowered.
I'm pretty sure him and Dirk has actually done a good job of being able to adapt. But I want to say the tire size he runs smaller than what he was running before, and what may even be stock on a Corvette. So I think he's done a good job of figuring out how to adjust to that. I think the Ute's just taking a little bit longer. He may not drive it as often or whatever, but I think that's definitely part of it, is that these two big vehicles are running really smaller width tires than what they're used to.
But is this something that you guys address them, like, okay, guys, last round you were kind of slow, you probably have to go to a bigger tire or something like that, or you let them figure that out by themselves?
I mean, I don't think they can go to a bigger tire. That's a rule Kevin put in place. So they need to figure out either how to shed some more weight or start practicing maybe more on those tires in order to make that work, or switch to a different chassis possibly. I mean, but that's something that's within the rules, not something that we as judges say this is what you have to do.
I think the Corvette has a lot of room for weight improvement.
The Ute probably does too.
Well, here, since we're on that topic of speed, we actually, I don't know if you guys are watching the Facebook, we had Farouk, the world's famous driver in Formula D, world famous BMW offset king. He has the best offset in drifting history.
Camber King.
The roof.
The Farouker. He goes, with so many calls being controversial due a lead vehicle change in speed, is there a place for a second forward or rear facing LED light? Maybe a blue one. It could be a throttle or an e-brake trigger to show that there's a change in either throttle or e-brake.
We've joked about that before, and I think it's too easy for them to manipulate how well it works. Kevin immediately is like, oh, well, you could just do this and fix it, or you could do this to adjust it, and it's just been kind of it's going to be too easy to, I guess, not be accurate.
You know what's funny is when I was putting the LED brake lights on the Boss, I was and this is what I was doing at the time. I was playing with the brake sensor on when the brake light actually triggered.
See, exactly, and that's why he checks that at Tech.
Yeah, and then now
because of people like you, Corey.
No, because it was one of the things I was thinking about, because I was adjusting the brakes. I'm like, wow, the lights aren't coming on yet, until like the pedal's literally all the way on the floor, and then the light triggered. But it's like, that's something you can easily do. Is don't have the throttle light come on until you're 3/4 into it.
I think Kevin Wells would have passed your Tech.
No, I obviously fixed it. I'm going by the rule book, but I'm just saying that's something that a lot of people don't think about. Is there's ways around that.
There's something as simple as a switch can be so easily manipulated. There's so much stuff that can be done with stuff that is so hard to.
Yeah, you see my brakes locking up with no brake lights on or anything.
Yeah, I'm making notes right now, telling Kevin what to look for with
That's
your
all right.
car.
I'll let Kevin go. I'm sure you'll find plenty of other things to look at too while he's underneath there.
Sheet metal screws. Wood screws.
Go through the old famous Dustin sheet metal screws. Yeah, it's the sport has came a long ways with you guys coming into it, and taking that new style approach is definitely something I think the fans appreciate. And we just went back to the shows. You look at Pro 2 and the Pro 1 competition. I was just telling Paco before he got on, it was probably one of the best events I personally think this year with how tandem competition was.
Oh, Pro 2 was
heard
great.
that from a few people. Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah, let's start with Pro 2. How did you guys think that Pro 2 did this round, or what would you guys take away from that?
Well, Bryan actually said it the best. He said Pro 2 set the bar pretty high. The pro guys are going to have to really put on a good show to outshine the Pro 2 guys.
Yeah, I believe that. And you look at a couple of the chase runs on the brink, I was like, God damn, these dudes. It was
very interesting to watch Pro 2 this round. I mean, everybody seemed to be doing pretty good. There's a couple of drivers who you can tell there's still some more driving experience, more seat
or
time.
development of the car. Yeah, sure.
Team development, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, they look like they're getting at that level. I know I have a question. The guys who are on Pro 2 who don't, is there a rule also for if you don't qualify, if you don't you move out of Pro 2 back to Pro Am or something like that?
Good question.
Yeah, you were
I
kind of.
think top 8 in Pro 2 get licenses for Pro 1. You have to score a minimum number of points in Pro 1 and Pro 2. I can't remember if it's 64 in Pro 1 and 32 in Pro 2, but I want to say that sounds vaguely familiar as to what you have to
But-
earn to keep your license.
Yeah, where was your original question
But
going?
yeah, but I was just kind of like going like trying to think if there was going to be a lot of drivers not moving, like not keeping their license or not. But anyways, what I was going is like, yeah, I mean the level in Pro 2 is definitely is going up there. I mean, Corey, I think you're about to find quite a force to be reckoned with.
I was hoping to try to do it this weekend, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, it was exciting to watch because I think that was the first Pro 2 round I saw all year because obviously I went to Long Beach. I didn't see it in Long Beach. But you look at the lack of numbers in Pro 1. You had, 26 or 28 drivers this last round in Pro 1?
26.
26. So you had a few buy runs out there, but the thing is like you look at that and then you look at the Pro 2, that was an equally as good show. So it's not like people are missing out on the driving value of it. You're just taking, the other part of the Pro 1 bracket and put it in the Pro 2, and it made an equally as good show. I think everybody drove equally as well. Do you think that a lot of drivers from Pro 2 may move up next year to Pro 1 to fill those gaps, or where do you think that's going to be going?
Talking to some of them, I know they have plans to do it. Whether or not they should or not, I always try to tell them if you can't podium in every round of Pro 2, don't move to Pro 1 because it's not going to get any easier and it's definitely not the same. It's only going to get harder. I mean, Hilbrun's a good example. He dominated Pro 2 a couple years ago, and even it was a learning curve that first year he came into Pro 1. So I just feel most of the guys that do it should definitely do it once they've got their programs together. I mean, James Dean stepped away for 7 years and came back. So it's not like you want to rush it. You should just take your time, get all your ducks in a row, and then make the jump. But until you can truly dominate the Pro 2 guys, I don't think there's any need to jump to Pro 1.
And as far as the rules for between Pro 2 and Pro, you guys judge exactly the same, right? Like it's exact same parameters, or is there any that is slightly different between the two?
No, it's the same. We use the same style, angle, and line parameters. We're just as strict, I guess you could say. We don't really give them any leeway to be less aggressive or not being on the line. So you're going to see lower scores in Pro 2 a little bit just because of the driving level being just a little bit lower, and that's, I think, par for the course. You're going to see that at every Pro 2 round.
Got it. Yeah, I'm asking this because I have Greg Jones here, Jeff Jones' brother, is watching, and he's asking, why is proximity judge so heavy against angle? He said, I mean, why is proximity judge so heavy? It's killing the angle game.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, we want you to have that proximity and the angle, but also having the same angle and being 3 car lengths back and having a little bit less angle and being maybe half a car length back, which one looks better? I mean, the level of difficulty to be right up on someone's door and be able to copy what they're doing is definitely harder than being back away. So we just want tandem to be closer. Ryan had made a chart that we show the drivers at the drivers meeting that gives them these different levels of what we look for in regards to proximity. And I feel it does a really good job of what it explains we're looking for. If you looked at it, the number one is we want the cars door-to-door matching angle. I mean, we always want you to try and either equal that angle or surpass it if you're the chase car. That's showing dominance.
I agree with that. Like, I mean, there was probably no more exciting moments this weekend than watching Castro putting his car pretty much like at so much proximity from Forsberg 3 times in a row. I mean, the crowd was on their feet. I think that's definitely.
And I mean, we've tried recently too with judging is to make it more like what the fans want. They're the ones that watch the sport. They're the ones that enjoy it. So we tried to make the rules and everything be a little bit more clear and easily understood, but it's what's more exciting for them. They're the ones watching. So there's more of them than any of us, including judges, drivers, staff, everything, teams. So what they want is what we try to deliver. And I think these last couple of years have really done a good job of making the fans understand the sport better and enjoy it.
So with that being said, I have another question for you guys. Talking about giving the fans what they want and giving everybody kind of, the fulfillment of watching an FD event. How do you guys feel about still not running third place runs?
I mean, I get it. I would like to see it personally. I still run it in my series for our guys. I think it's still another good battle, but I get why FD got rid of it. So it definitely did hold. I mean, the show gets held up because of everything, and that they did the math, and that was one of the most held up battles because of it. So for the run of the show, fine. As a fan, I want it back because it was always a great battle to see.
Ryan, what do you think?
Well, I think that it's usually a good battle, but we have so many things that can slow us down as it is, and people are always saying that the flow of the show is what keeps them engaged the most. You know, when people are watching on live stream, when there's a break, that's when they kind of lose interest a little bit. So if you want to keep the fans interested, you want to keep it flowing as smoothly as possible. It does put a lot of emphasis on your qualifying too. If you're not qualifying well, I guess it takes away that ability for you to have that opportunity to do well at the end. So it does make you want to qualify higher, which makes qualifying more interesting as well.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a definitely a unique perspective. Look at it is by forcing yourself to qualify while you want to beat everybody in the qualifying because you can get that third place spot if you make it that far into the bracket. You don't have to run that battle. So there isn't a reward given to that.
Yeah. So you don't even know who's going to end up with you in the top four, right? Once you get to that point, I always put the number, like the qualifying position next to the name. So I'm looking at a 1, a 5, a 7, and a 2, let's say, in the final top four. And it's, this guy's got to win or he's not going to make it onto the podium,
right?
Because he's the lowest qualifier in top four. So you don't know what's going to end up in that box with you though in the top four. You could end up with, you might be fourth, but you might have the top 3 guys ahead of you. So even being fourth isn't that great. Or you can be 8th, and just the way things work out, you can end up getting a spot. So it's you're planning ahead by qualifying well, but you still don't even know unless you're first or second. It's really tough to say how far you're going to go.
Right. So we have Brian saying he wants or third place run back. Yes or no? Do you want third place back?
I'm indifferent, I guess. It's whatever's best for the show, whatever keeps people happy. I don't really.
So we'll give you one more time then. Paco, what do you judge? Do you want the third place run back, or do you?
I'd rather see third place back.
All right. So between the 3 judges, Ryan, Brian, and Paco, third place run gets a unanimous decision.
It's unanimous.
Yeah, I think it's
third place battle gets the
win.
Okay,
so you look at the series now. There's 26 cars out this last round. We actually went to halftime in Seattle about 35 minutes sooner than the scheduled time. It's like, why can't we shift that around a little bit?
That was because of buy runs.
Yeah, that was because of the buy runs. Because this was the first round where they didn't take it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have those buy runs when you get to top 16.
Right.
So that's still going to be that same amount of time they have allotted. So I think that's where the problem comes in. If they ended top 32 earlier and then moved up everything, then I think we could get back to where it wouldn't be a time constraint. But because the schedule is generally pretty hard, it's still that when halftime's over, opening ceremonies to the finals is why they got rid of it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I can totally understand why they did it. It's not that bad now that we had, it's been 2 years already? Or 3 years?
Mm-hmm. Maybe even 3.
Yeah.
2
I think it might be 3.
I think we're in the third one. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad, honestly. But it's always, like, we as fans, we kind of, like, want more battles at the end of the day, But it's not the end of the day.
Well,
the end of the world.
What were we also talking about before this, Paco? We were talking about Pro 1 and Pro 2, and then how we used to have 60 cars in Pro 1. And then, there may be that one guy who squeaks into top 32, and the battles in the top 32 weren't always exciting to watch. But now every battle seems to be exciting to watch.
You don't know in 32 what's going to happen anymore. A few years ago, you could look at the 32 and go, yeah, I'm pretty sure, he's going to get through. He's going to get through. But now nobody knows. It's anybody's battle now.
Yeah, you go to a couple runs. You look at the top 30. Do we have Hey, Brian, can you pull up the bracket? Big Balls. Sorry, I'm going to call him Big Balls so I don't get Brian and Big Balls confused. Pull up the bracket. Let's see who do we have in top 32 together. We had, let's think of some like big people going. You had Matt Fields versus Dai Yoshihara in top 32. Like, that's a gnarly one. You have Alec Honadel versus Frederick Osbo. Chris Forsberg versus Jonathan Castro. Like, you look at that top 32 bracket, and it's like, that would be a typical top 8, top 16 bracket.
It's funny, when Forsberg was sitting up there in the grandstands during top 16, some of the people were talking to him, and I was overhearing saying, like, oh, man, you went against Castro, and you're going against, like, and even Forsberg says like, dude, at this point, you're going against everybody. Everybody can take you out. You know, it's like a testament on the level, you know, the competition level that the other drivers are going through. You know, it's not, you know, like there's not necessarily beef, but everybody is as competitive. You know, like.
Well, they're all equally as good drivers. You know, there's not that one or two getting in there that's like, I just got a lucky
up
run.
to a certain level, yes.
It's everybody deserves to be there.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see here. We're going through the list right now of the top 32 bracket.
Oh.
Yeah, so you do have a couple Byrons. See, like that's the thing is looking at it, kind of seeing the Byrons. It's like whatever, it is what it is.
Give it another year. I think they'll be gone.
Okay, so hold on. Before we go into that, now that I'm looking at this, I know I'm kind of jumping ship just a little bit. I'm going through this, but what popped in my head as I was looking at this is we look at the FIA organization. Are you guys concerned that it's going to take any more drivers away from FD, or do you think it's not going to affect it at all?
Right now, they're looking for 2 to 3, 4 drivers per series internationally to come to one event. The drivers aren't going to drop a whole series to go to one event. It's an addition to all the events and the series that we have around the world, picking a few drivers, the best from or whatever drivers that are interested from that series to come compete. So it's more of like a one-stop, hey, everybody come in for one little event and then go back home. So it's not really trying to steal our drivers away. It's just trying to borrow them for a short period of time, see what they can do against some people from the rest of the world, and then throw them back to their home series.
Are you still part of that FIA board, Ryan?
I was. Things went in a different direction all of a sudden once D1 won the bid. So we're not really doing anything with them at the moment. I don't know what's going on there. I know there was some discussion about the judging system they're going to be using at FIA now. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be DOS, and now it's going to be. So I think there's still discussions going on. But right before they announced the winner of the bid, the person that was handling the whole thing at FIA, Morgan Caron, he ended up leaving FIA to go work at another place. So the new guy that came in didn't really know what we had done before he arrived, unfortunately. So a lot of that went out the window. We're hoping that it gets reinstituted. Don't know what's going to happen for now. They claim on the FIA website that there's going to be human judges involved. I haven't heard anything about that either.
I remember Big Balls Brian, Triple B for short.
Yep.
And we were talking about precisely this whole FIA thing. Like, okay, so they have a round confirmed in Japan, but then what? Like, is there going to be more rounds? Are they all going to be in Japan? Is there going to be like a round in Ireland, a round in America, a round in different places? Because if it is, I would imagine, okay, we're going to do the round in Ireland. We're going to have the guys from Ireland bid on it. And they're going to have a round in America. Let's have the guys in America bid on it and see who puts a round together. Because I guess that's kind of how it's done with F1, right? I mean, it's not like they bring all the crew and they bring all the people, right? Or what? Or do you guys know, like, what are they planning to do?
Well, when I was involved in it, the plan was to have this one this year. They're going to have to go through a whole new re-bidding process for the future years, from what I understand. In the future, they want to have a series that they're going to build. But for the first few years, it's kind of experimental. So is it going to be one event per year at different locales run by different agencies, whatever you want to call it? Or is it going to be 1 year to see what it's like, and then maybe it'll change in concept next year? Don't really know.
Do you think the results of this year in particular would make a lot of difference on it'll make a big change on results on like what's gonna happen next year? Like if this year doesn't do very good for them, they'll probably be like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that this year is going to give FIA a good idea of what the market is like. How many drivers are interested in coming? How many people are interested in coming to watch this event? Because they still have to make money with this. At the moment, I don't know where all the money is going to be coming from. I haven't seen any sponsors announced. So is it D1 fronting the money themselves? Are they going to announce some sponsors that are going to be partnering with them to put on the FIA event? I'm not sure. So if you don't have a series that's willing to put in a lot of money themselves, you got to try to find money from somewhere else. So I think that's going to lead into, or it's going to show them the direction this could take in the future. Odaiba is a good location in terms of population. You can't get better than downtown Tokyo for people coming to the event, right? It's easy. People can take public transit from their homes anywhere in Tokyo and get to Odaiba. How many drift fans are in Tokyo? I don't know. I went to a D1 event at Odaiba in the past. The stands weren't full. The whole area, the vendors area, was free, so you could just walk in. There's a mall right there. What is it with Is it Gundam, whatever the heck his name is? That big
Gangnam Style
towering robot Gundam. He's right there, so everybody's around that taking pictures, and then you hear cars ripping around a track. So it attracted a lot of people into the vendor area, like I said, which was free. But beyond the point where you had to pay to be in the event and watching cars, it wasn't as full as you'd expect. So it was two different events almost going on. There was that free side and then the paid side. So we'll see how many people they can actually get to pay to come to the FIA event.
Somebody, Tyler Green is asking in the comments, if the money isn't there for the drivers, then why do FIA?
I think people are going to do it. If they do it, they're going to do it for the visibility. They're going to do it because their sponsor asks them to. You have to look at this from different perspectives, right? You've got D1 who are doing it on their home turf, on one of their home tracks. Their drivers can get there fairly easily. Japan's not that big when you compare it to the US or Canada. The size of the country you have to traverse to get there. So they're only going to invite a few drivers from Japan to compete probably. The rest of the people have to come from around the world. So it's a big endeavor for them. From what I understand, FIA is covering the shipping costs for the cars, so you don't have to worry about that. But you do have to pay, I believe it's $6,000 for the driver and 2 team members, I believe, to be there. And you'd have to have, a few bucks put aside to be able to pay for that. And some people are going to want extra staff. And I believe on the website it says it's $1,500 per person extra from there on. So it can be a big financial expenditure for somebody. And you're also looking at a long lead time on your car. I heard from the US a car is going to have to leave mid to late August. You're probably not going to get it back until October, maybe November, depending on what the shipping dates are like. So you can't need that car right away. You have to have an extra car or no events to drive in other than that one event in that time period, which it's going to be hard to find somebody in that position. So that limits the pool right there. From Europe, it's not easy to get to Japan by ship either. You got a long haul there too. So it's not an easy feat for anybody, but at least they're covering the shipping costs. So I guess that makes it a little bit easier.
Well, just coincidentally, this FIA round is going to be right around the same time as Irwindale. So
Yeah.
I don't know who we expect going out there, especially with you mentioning that it's going to be 2-3 months delivery time. You're not going to take any Pro D or FD guy and put them out there in their pro car. They're going to have to be renting something or building a specific car for that particular application. That's kind of a weird thing. Is would have no idea why, if they want to bring the best drifters around the world to an event, why would you schedule it so close? But like I said, the original question why I asked what you guys' take was on FIA was, we already have 4, 5, 6 buy runs per round. Would people be willing to leave the series to go run FIA, and if that's going to affect the top 32 field?
I don't think anybody's going to take that chance to ship their car over. I could maybe see guys going over with a different car or renting a car or something like that. It's a possibility. I don't see why some drivers wouldn't. If you have the money and the time to go over there, it's another cool drift event. I don't see anything wrong with the FIA event necessarily. The only the complaints I've heard is about the judging being with DOS. That's the only complaint I've heard about it, other than, well, maybe it's the timing's a little bit off. But some guys have multiple cars. Some guys can drive right-hand drive, so they can rent a car over there, a competitive one. In that case, yeah, it's a cool event. It's in downtown Tokyo. It's it could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for some people. I don't see why you wouldn't want to go if you could afford it.
What was that, Big Balls? Who's planning on going? I think
from FD, nobody. They have like Mad Mike, Andy Gray, A lot of the Japanese. It's mostly like people that's doing FD Japan and D1 GP. I mean, people's already there. Their cars are already there. I heard. Brian, I heard that Forrest wanted to go. They were trying to look into it, but we still don't know. Haven't heard any confirmation. Their website is still not showing. There's not showing their rules. They're not showing the drivers yet. I don't know. It seems like everything is going silky smooth.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple of FD drivers that are planning to attempt to go. I'm not going to say who because that's up to them, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of our guys went.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that, obviously.
Well, we have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Talking about the top 26 field, Donovan Brockaway asked, he heard rumors that you guys may be forcing the top 8 in Pro 2 to move up to Pro 1. Have you guys heard anything on that?
I have
No.
not. I saw Andy Luck is in the room, so maybe you can ask him.
Oh, we have Andy. That's right. We do have Andy Luckman. Maybe he can throw in this.
He was already.
I'm hoping he says something without yelling at me, but I'm sure he's going to be yelling at me.
He already said something to one of the drivers. It
Taylor.
was like, yeah, I think it was Taylor Hurl. I was thinking if he have any license by the next time. He's like kind of like trying him to take away his license or something like that. It was funny.
Yeah. So what he was saying, Paco, was hopefully you still have your license by the time you finish your Cadillac.
There you go.
That was
Something like that.
Yeah, that's an Andy and Kevin question.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's something to bring up for
But
this
for
time.
the top 26 that we have now, you have to understand that I talked to Kevin about this. It was somewhere almost in the 40 driver range registered for this year. Then people started dropping off, whether it's financial obligations that they had elsewhere, their sponsors fell through, they couldn't get their car shipped over, or like a guy like Charles Zing that was in that left. So we had a full field, and it's not that these drivers didn't want to come and we didn't have enough drivers. The ones that we gave licenses to just ended up not using them, unfortunately. It's one of those situations where we could have accepted 50 or 60 applicants, but what if they all showed up?
Right.
Right? We wanted to have the best of the best competing in Formula D Pro. So when we get any petitions from overseas, you're looking for the ones that have won one or multiple championships in their home countries, ones that have a good backing with a good competitive car as well. And when you say yes to them and then unfortunately they can't make it, now we just lost another guy that can't, somehow get things together and get over here, and then another one and another one. And it's unfortunate, but you have to kind of play the math game, right? And try to see what the magic number is. Do we allow 40 to come and hope there are 32 by the time attrition takes place, or do you accept 50 and hope that they're maybe like high 30s? Or so at that point it gets difficult as well.
Question for Brian. We were talking about guys moving up to Pro 2 and Pro 1. I can't remember what organization I asked this to, but we were I think it was Nick Dyson with Vegas Drift, Southwest Drift. I asked them, with the progression of the sport nowadays, and you look at guys like Forsberg, Turk, and Vaughn, driving is just a small portion of what it takes to be a Formula Drift Pro 1, Pro 2 driver. Do you guys ever plan on implementing something for the Pro-Am guys to say, hey, do you know what? You really need to have the total package. You need media. You need to create content. You need to be a driver. You need to have a good program. Because when I was competing, it was like you could literally run out there with a bare bones cage and with an SR that makes 300 horsepower and you can get your license. But that doesn't give you the opportunity to be successful in the series. It gives you the ability to go out there. But do you think you guys will ever implement like a full program?
I don't know if they will or not, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I remember showing up to Long Beach and seeing every year, at least not so much the last year or two, but the first couple of years when I came on board, I remember seeing the rookies come up and they would do autograph sessions, and those guys would have nothing with them to autograph. They would sign other drivers' stuff. It was pretty bad that they'd ever were told that they needed to do it, or that they had any clue that they needed to bring their own, I guess, promo stuff to give away or market themselves. Last year, FD did a thing at Irwindale where they had 3 individuals in the sport or in marketing and a lawyer and stuff like that come out, and they had drivers and teams sign up for this class, and they basically went through like a 2-hour Q&A to try and help some of these guys do better. So I went to it as well, took notes, and then shared it with a lot of my Pro-Am guys in the off season to try to help them. I've got a few guys who do create content after events, before events, during, whatever. that are really doing that. But again, some of these guys in Pro-Am don't really necessarily want to go to the pros. They're just having fun. So I think that's part of it. But I think more and more the guys are starting to understand that they need to be a total package. You don't always have to win, but you do need to be able to promote you, your sponsors, and the sport in a good way and be able to do it successfully. So they're slowly getting it, but I just think it's a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, I talked to another FD driver this weekend, and they thought that we should just go back to top 16 because there's still some drivers in Pro 1 that don't really do as much marketing as they could. So, I mean, I think there's always room for improvement, and obviously some other people do as well. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out a way to educate these people to do better and be able to do that.
Go ahead, Paco.
I have a question here from Matt Predmore from Quickstyle Motorsports. He's asking if you guys think there will be any kind of increase on the driver payout or any form of a structure to pay out for top 16. And how can the series give back to the teams, sponsors, drivers? I guess let me talk about the payouts, yeah.
I thought it was on the same topic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going the same, right? Like,
Well, before that,
okay.
even like going back to what we were talking about, Brian, about, you know, developing a driver coming into Pro 1 and Pro 2 and what it takes. And the only reason I asked that question is because it seems like the series gets a lot of flack from a lot of drivers saying that, do you know, I went and competed in Pro 1 and I didn't come out a millionaire. I didn't come out with a NOS sponsor. I didn't come out with a Monster Energy sponsor. FD just sucks because they didn't provide that to me. But they don't. I don't think they really realize what it takes in order to have that. And if it's something that's like, hey, guys, it's not just going out there and doing this. It requires this. So it's almost setting them up to be prepared for that, hey, do you know what? Just because you're in Pro 1 doesn't mean you're going to come out with, you know, the $1 billion sponsors. It's a lot more than that.
And, I mean, that's another reason why I tell these guys from Pro 2 not to make the jump to Pro 1. Like, you're adding on an extra, 4 events? I mean, everything's just doubled immediately. So it's a lot of work in there, and if you don't have the budget or anything to do that, how do you think it's going to change? Just because, let's say you won a couple of the rounds, do you think things will immediately change where you're going to make more money because you won a couple rounds? It's a really big picture that a lot of these guys need to, I guess, learn how to manage a little bit better.
Interesting. All right, so
back to the payout.
Yeah. So what was the question from Matt? Sorry.
No, yeah. If they think that there will be some increase on the payouts, that will be like more of a motivation to more motivation also help. You know, like to get the drivers. Oh, you were talking about that. Like that's why it's
well. So okay, my opinion on payouts. I'll say this first before I kind of let them talk. I don't think the drivers plan on becoming rich off of payouts.
Not rich,
I know, but what I'm saying is I really don't think that's why people compete is to win to make the $1 million. Like, yeah, NASCAR and Formula One, they're in a different position because they've been around for so long. But I think there's other opportunities to make money in the sport as getting sponsors and investors on board to run your program, and I think that's the opportunity to make a living off of it. Hopefully, eventually, payouts will come up down the road, but I don't think they're at a point yet, me personally, to be able to afford a $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 purse each round, maybe even more. You know, NASCAR's paying out, you know, $1 million a round, but that's, once again, they have the longevity of the series, they have the sponsors and everybody else on board. But I think Formula Drift gives the platform. Once again, this is kind of going back to where we're talking about, Brian. Is Formula Drift gives the platform for drivers to sell themselves to create their own opportunity and not depend so much on the series to make it for them.
Yeah, and the thing is if you send FD your stuff that you create, they'll share it for you, and they have a huge reach. I mean, they're probably one of the top 2 or 3 motorsports for social media with followers and actual content shared and everything. So they're giving you the ability to do it. It's just a matter of these guys doing it. And I remember you guys had Odie and Matt on recently, and they started making more content. Like, these guys are slowly getting on board where they're realizing to make more content is more beneficial to them. So eventually, hopefully, when we get 32 drivers or the 26 we have now start doing that more regularly, they'll start to see the rewards from it. Same with my guys. I give I've done it different years where I give a purse and sometimes we don't. So this year I'm currently doing $1,000 to winner take all. If we get 24 or more drivers per round, the first round I awarded it. The second round I didn't because I think we had 22 or 23 drivers. So, I mean, money's not always a motivator. We've given away even more in the past where we used to give away money for Hyperfest and stuff. I mean, winning purse to pay out doesn't always bring the best drivers, and also it brings out more things. I know Human ran a series last year that gave out $10,000 a round, which is amazing. But I remember seeing a post for him where he's like, "Oh wow, competition or money brings out the worst in everyone. And that's what happens too, is when you start bringing in these really high dollars, then people are only there for one reason, and that's to win the money. I think the perfect scenario is basically looking at like a band or a concert, and the venue is rented by a promoter. The band is paid to show up and perform, and the promoter makes their money off the spectators. I think in a perfect world, FD would be the same, and so would any drifting event. The promoter would rent a venue. They would pay the drivers to show up.
Right.
And then they would make their money off the spectators coming to watch. For me, it's not that easy. I would love it to be that way, but a lot of the tracks I rent, I pay full retail for, and then I either get half of gate if I'm lucky, or I get no gate. So then there's no real need for me to promote it, because I'm just promoting an event for someone else to make money off of me. And that's the problem with racetracks. They're not like music venues. They haven't really caught on yet, because the old days of road courses and stuff were these high dollar people that have money just rent a track out, they hold an event, and if they happen to have spectators, then so be it. So hopefully things will change in the next few years, but until that happens, I don't see that happening. But I honestly, if I could have my way, I wouldn't have my drivers pay. They would show up, perform. Those who perform well would win, and therefore they would get paid more, and that would be kind of how it would work out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Ryan, what do you think? Anything you'd like to add to that conversation?
I don't deal with any of this stuff, honestly. I don't. It's way above my pay grade. Bryan runs a lot of events, so he knows the struggles, I guess you can say. I just show up and judge. I don't know. I was never in it for the money personally. It was for the glory, which I didn't get either. So whatever.
But see, I think we had this a little bit of this conversation with I can't remember if it was with Ryan Sage, where he was saying something about like if the drivers are in for the money or are they in to show what they're capable of, and it makes a difference on how like not necessarily the kind of people who shows up, but like the kind of driving that people do, like the camaraderie and the friendships that happen at the track. It seems like when there's more money at risk or at stakes, how you say that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of that is gone, because now people get in a competitive mode that is less friendly and is more about like the greed.
Yeah, that may be, and I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I think some of that animosity between drivers is kind of cool to watch. You know, you know what I mean? I think that's one of the cool things that we do have about this sport is you can have drivers butt heads with one another, and that's just what makes this series a lot more entertaining. I think that FD does give a good enough platform for people to make a living, and I think that's why people get stuck on prize money, is because they're finding other alternatives to try to make money and a living at the sport, when there is already ways to make living and money at this sport. And you can name 3 guys off the top of your head that do it tremendously. You can name Vaughn, Forsberg, and Turk. They're the pinnacle of what drifters should be doing to make a living. But it's just not just FD. What they have done is created a name in FD that has allowed them to branch off.
And it took them time. It didn't happen just out of nowhere. They've been doing this for enough time where they've been gained that recognition.
Now, I do believe, yes, purse money should eventually go up. But once again, just don't look at the prize money. Look at what you can do to make money. It's work. You guys are working. Find a way to work more to make more money. That's my.
When was NASCAR founded?
Oh, that was what.
Probably?
I wasn't even think earlier than that. Wasn't it like 19?
It was like around the time of the Prohibition.
Probably late 40s, I think.
40s.
Yeah.
So I just looked. 1983, the prize money was $50,000 per event.
And when did it start?
It didn't get big until $1 Million Bill won his $1 million.
Right, but that's not just the prize money. Even 5 years ago, they said was $215,000. It's part of. That's the prize money strictly from NASCAR. Then you look at, I think, a lot of the sponsors throwing money and things like that. But the actual prize money from NASCAR, if you look at the NASCAR website, it went $50,000, and then like 4 years later it was $75,000, then it was $100,000, then $115,000. It slowly climbed up. And you take FD. What is this? How many years has it been now?
14, probably.
14 years. It's going to take time. You're not going to get $1 million, $1 million per event in 10, 12 years of competition. It's just not going to happen that quickly in motorsports. I know the young guys think that drifting is the first motorsport to ever make money or something like that. Motorsports have been around for 100 years or more, and those guys didn't make money when it first started. It's just how it is. You have to build a fan base. You have to build relevance for the sport, and it's going to take time. It's to the point now where it's gaining that relevance. People are noticing it more. You're seeing it in different versions of popular culture, but it takes a while to build these things, is all I'm getting at.
Right.
Yeah, sure. In 10, 15 years, there may be we might be at the 50 grand per event prize money in the next 5 years. And then in 10, 15 years, you might be at the 100 grand or the 200 or who knows. Just give it some time. It's got to grow.
So what was that statistic you gave us, Ryan? At what year was it they made 50 grand?
It was in 1983.
So 83. So that was literally 45 years before they got to that point to get the 50 grand. Because
it took a while, right?
Yeah. So if it was started in 1948, you look at 1949, somewhere in there, and it took till 1983. Yeah, you're looking at 30 plus years to get to that point.
83 50 grand is different than 2017 50 grand too.
Yeah.
Right, but not to the point where it's $1 million. There's the web page. That's NASCAR. That's the actual NASCAR website.
Alternative facts.
It's
well,
and then 25 years. So it took 5 years to go from 50 grand to 75 grand.
what was that? A Pontiac? Is that like a Grand Prix?
Hold on.
Look at those
Paco,
guys.
I want to hear what was the statistic, Ryan? Go ahead.
So in 1983, which was 30 years ago, the prize was 50 grand. 25 years ago, it was 75 grand. 20 years ago, 60 grand. So it actually went down. How do you think about that? And then 15 years ago, so 1998, it was $100,000. And that was Rusty Wallace that won that one. 10 years ago was $205,000, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 5 years ago, it was 215 grand. That comes right from the NASCAR website, NASCAR.com.
And that
there you go, 5 years ago.
And that was
250.
And that was for starting position for winning. They got 250 grand for winning. So you look at this.
Prize,
Okay.
Yep.
So let's do the
Prize
math
money.
on this. Let's talk about this just for one more minute before we get off this, because now I'm getting all wound up.
Yep.
Okay. So how many NASCAR races is there a year?
Jesus, like all of them.
Just can we look at
all of
Paco,
them?
look that up real quick. My computer's down. Because if you look at the prize money, if they're getting 215 grand, and let's find out how many races that is, Paco.
36 races.
36. 215 times 36. What do we get? Hold on. We're doing some math here real quick.
Oh, we're doing the math?
Yeah.
Bring the lighters.
Yep, go ahead, Paco. What is it?
36 times
215,000, and that was the highest paid.
215,000.
Yep. What does that come out to?
It's $7 million.
$7 million. Okay.
$7.5 million.
So there's there's NASCAR teams already spending more than that just to compete. So even if they won every single race, they're not going to make their money back.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
is the same situation that we're in with Formula Drift.
It is relative.
So
absolutely.
where are these NASCAR teams making their money at? They're not making it off the racing. They're making it
from the
elsewhere.
sponsors.
That was actually a very good statistic, boys. Thanks for doing some digging into that, because that is very interesting information. If you win every single NASCAR race at the highest paid at $215,000, you're still going to be breaking even or even under
Not
at
even
the
bad.
operating cost of one NASCAR team.
Because I think
So that's prize money directly from NASCAR. I don't know if they're throwing more money for the sponsors and whatever else they throw in, but that's actual prize money that NASCAR pays out.
Let's take a look at this.
It's probably going to be more today. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, and
but
I know
still,
there's
that's 5 years
still
ago.
like Run of Champions, and sometimes Daytona can pay out to $1 million. But even then, let's say you take Daytona, which they throw in $1 million with the 215,000 per round, you're still only going to be at $8 million a year.
yeah, it's still not covering the whole season.
Let's see here. We're digging some more. Looks like Jojo Redmond's throwing some statistics at us here a little bit. He said the Daytona 500 payout this year was close to $18 million, or was $18 million.
What?
Which, if that was it, that was interesting. So what status did you get off the?
But that's probably the complete thing, like from bonuses and this and like other that's probably outside
outside of endorsements. But NASCAR itself paid 218.
That's what it says on the website. 215.
Well,
That's
85
NASCAR.com.
In '85, when Bill Elliott won, he got $1,053,000. Second place got $22,000. Talk about a discrepancy. How pissed would you be if you got the second place call and got 22 grand versus $1 million?
What and was that? See, that's the other thing.
Joey says that the last place gets paid $262,000.
Well, that's why you have those teams that just show up, run one lap, and leave. But I think they've gotten rid of that, so you can't do that now.
No, Joey's correcting us. He says NASCAR paid $18 million.
Click on that link, Paco, real quick. Let's take a look
I
at
don't-
that, and
I
we'll
don't
keep
see it.
Scroll up. Yeah, we'll take a look at that real quick. Harvick to 1.1 million.
So anyway, give FD time. I'm sure there'll be
Yeah.
some payout.
But it's just
So-
interesting to look at the NASCAR website that you supplied, Ryan, with the numbers
that's
that they're showing.
NASCAR.com.
Yeah,
I don't know
no,
what to tell you.
yeah, no, that's the other thing too. Is I'm sure there's other ways to make contingency money. So did you see that link? SB Nation Paco .NASCAR 2015 Daytona 500 purse prize money.
Yeah.
Click on that. Let's look at that real quick.
It's
It's
a
like
lot.
right
let's,
now,
let's put it on
Formula D
on
pays out
screen.
the money that they're going to pay out for a win, and then they might have somebody else go, "Oh, you qualified first. Here's $500 from
Right.
from that sponsor, right?"
Oh, it could be totally.
Yeah, and
we're-
you add up all the different things that you have thrown into that same pile. Sure, $18 million. But
Well,
what
there's
did
also
NASCAR
there's
itself
also
power?
like once again we have contingency options in Formula Drift. I know AEM is doing one with the Pro 2 guys. I think if you're the highest finishing
Thrown
Pro
into that
2,
same
that's
pile,
another
sure,
$500
$18
on
million.
top of that. So yeah. Anyways, I know we went on a rant with that, but it was pretty interesting statistics, and I think with the evolution of the sport, it's definitely going to go somewhere. Let's move on while they do a little bit more digging on that. Paco, what else we got? I know we haven't talked about Seattle yet, but you guys want to spend a few minutes on Seattle before we go to fan questions?
Sure.
Oh yeah. First of all, one of the things about Seattle is that so you guys seem to have a lot of slide left, slide right discrepancies between you guys, and we approached Andy Yen as well, see if we can have him on the show, but apparently he's pretty busy today. He's probably got some laundromat
It's laundry
emergencies.
day.
But so yeah, we wanted to talk about you on that because I know. Okay, so which one of you guys is in charge of what part of judging?
Well,
Like
for tandem, we judge everything.
So okay. Oh, that's right. That's just for judging. That's just for qualifying. Where so one is angle, one is.
I was in charge of speed.
Ah, that would have been the dream.
Okay, so in qualifying, you guys are in charge of a different aspect, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So I was style for this round.
Okay. Oh, and you guys are constantly cycling through.
Correct.
What were you doing, Ryan?
I was doing angle.
Style, angle, and Andy was doing
Line?
line. Got it. Okay, so
Yeah.
then when you do the tandem, you guys don't have the little knob thing anymore when you used to like.
Oh man, I
No,
missed
no.
that. The
I
RC
know.
car
I
knob.
bet you do.
Yeah, ditch that. I didn't even know which way I was going half the time. I was like, was up or down mean for them, or who does it? What does it? I just started getting sick watching the line go up and
You
down.
know, the little lines going up and down.
I thought we were about ready to have an earthquake. The equator was like going.
Yeah, I can't say that I enjoyed those days.
There you go.
I love it.
But so okay, so now you guys, for example, let's talk about Jonathan Castro and Chris Forsberg. They went one more time, twice, so they went a total of 3 times. And there was a few times where, let me see. I think I have the photo. Somebody posted it on our discussion board.
Yeah.
Where's this thing? Oh, it's not loading. Oh my god.
So I think the first one was Brian and Andy. No, myself and Andy one more time. Brian said Forsberg. The second one, I said Forsberg, and they said one more time each. And then the last one, I can't remember if we all
I think
voted
it
for
might be
Forsberg
unanimous.
or Castro. Sorry, or who won?
I think it
Yeah,
was
so-
unanimous on the last one.
Yeah, one
unanimous?
was Andy and who's in the bottom?
Can we
Ryan.
have Big Balls pull that up on the jumbotron? That picture you're looking
yeah,
at.
let's do that, Ryan.
Come on, Big Balls. That's our computer operator, Brian.
So let's look at this real quick. So
You guys should see Brian. He's like 6'6", 290 pounds stacked.
Well, put him on camera.
He's too big for it. He'd break it. Yeah.
He won't fit.
Oh, there's his hand right there.
it's camera skew on you. So
All right,
one
hold
second.
on. Paco's pulling up the image right now. Scrolling through. Oh, there it is right there. All right.
All right, Brian, cue it real quick. Boom. There you go. So we're seeing. Let's zoom in a little bit.
So you got, one more time. And then Brian voted Forsberg. And then it looks like Ryan and Andy went one more time. And then the second was one more time. And then Ryan went to the Force. And then the last one was completely unanimous.
Well, this one's not left and right. I think the final race, you guys had two guys for
What are you talking about, Paco?
the final
No,
race. The
these
final.
sentences are correct.
Osbo and
No, this one's one more time and a driver. The
We're talking
finals
about
was 2 for a driver and 1 for the other driver. So it was a complete opposite ends. Yes, you're right.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Paco is setting up the neural net
The
processor.
final, I believe, was Andy and I for Dean, and you went for Osbo, I believe, for the finals.
Pull it
Okay.
back up.
You guys are
Bang.
back. Yeah, we're having a little bit of
No,
freezing.
we have
for
no
the-
no
it's all
freezing.
good.
It's everything's perfect
Um,
at Maximum Driftcast. No technical difficulties.
I think I was talking about the final race with.
I know, but we were still talking about Castro and
Well, then,
Forsberg.
go
I-
ahead.
So we brought that up. Going through that particular race, what was the advantage, or why was there so many like flip flops? And you guys weren't sitting next to each other, obviously. You guys don't do that anymore, right? You guys sit in different spots.
No, generally we're together. This time it's so tight up there that we can't sit side by side.
Right.
Brian and Andy were in the same kind of room, and I was down on the end with Jared and Ryan Sage.
I know it's going to be tough kind of looking back on those 3 particular events, but Forsberg obviously had that issue. He spun out, right? Forsberg.
I have my notes, man.
Oh, man. Is it only 1 page now?
Oh, no,
No, there's a lot of pages.
I was going to say. Oh, my God. So how do you break your notes down real quick? Like, is it.
So I got the driver A, driver B, and then run 1 and run 2. So lead versus chase and chase versus lead, right? So I can see what I do is then compare lead to lead and chase to chase to see who did better in both positions. And that's how I get my results.
Interesting. So what was the notes on the first 2 Forsberg battles and Castro?
Let's see, Castro and his chase, he was kind of mid-prox at the beginning, then it was okay, but then it fell off. So he was kind of, we like to tell the guys proximity, if you could keep it the same all the way through is better. If you kind of vary your proximity, then we're comparing proximities, one to the other. And for Forsberg, he just had better proximity through outside zone 1, and then I have a comma and I didn't finish my notes. A lot of times we're pretty rushed up there, so I try to do the best notes I can, but sometimes I don't get them all. So for Forsberg's lead, I had that he was high on outside zone 1. He had a wall tap after the end of outside zone 2, and that's where he kind of lost a little bit of angle right there. Then he went 2 wheels off at the touch and go, and from there on, it was fairly good to the finish line. Castro's lead, I had he was lower on outside zone 1. He did better in the touch and go, but then my notes end again. So the second run, I didn't have time to write all my notes, but I had already put my score in. So sometimes I try to go back and finish my notes after, but clearly I didn't have time this time.
That's fine. But at the end of the day, what put it in the coffin is Forsberg spun out or had a big correction on the last chase run, right?
Yeah, that would be he tapped the lead at outside zone 2 and spun. So I do have an incomplete for Forsberg on his chase. Let's see. I think that, Castro's lead ended up being very similar to Forsberg's, I think. It was a good lead that said small bobbles on outside zone 1, but you can't really come back from an incomplete like that when you spin out in an area like that. So,
Paco, do you have some notes? It looks like Paco had some notes too. What notes do you have, Paco? Let's see what the judges said.
You want to see my notebook? You guys can see
Paco.
it. But, oh my God!
Come on, dude. Man, I don't know if you guys can see it, but
They
Paco drew a bunch
they'll
of.
see it on the. They'll see it on.
He drew a bunch of hairy
I have
dinguses with my names on it, which.
Oh.
What does that translate to?
That was actually the translation was for the final race. Osbo and.
Oh, so that doesn't have anything to do with me?
No.
Okay, good. All right, perfect.
It's Osbo and James Dean. After the one more time, you guys revealed that it wasn't unanimous, and I think one of you two of you favored James Dean and one favored Osbo. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so who were the culprits right here?
Well, I said Dean, and so did Andy. Brian's the one that said Osbo.
Aha! It's time for you to. We have these segments called Judge Deathmatch. We're gonna pit you against each other. We want to see we want you guys to fight.
Oh, Paco, we don't want them to cockfight. We're not in Guadalajara.
Oh,
but yeah, I would be interested to hear your guys' debate with each other on why you voted each way.
Yeah, well, I had this discussion with Steph and his team afterwards, and clearly they were emotional at the time and probably thought that Oswald should have won, but they were pretty professional. They just wanted to know why I had made the decision the way I did. So the main reason that I went with Dean was that he made less sacrifices to gain and maintain proximity throughout the course, whereas Osbo on his chase had to he took away a lot of angle. If you watch the replay on outside zone 1, kind of the second half of outside zone 1, his angle was significantly lower than Dean's was for a good amount of that bank, of the second half of the bank. So I felt like there was that. And then the other thing was he kind of missed the touch and go a little bit. More than Dean did when he was in the chase. So maybe it wasn't as close there. I haven't been able to find the replay of it to watch it again.
I can send you the link if you want it.
Okay, I found the first.
Yeah.
I found the first lap, but I wasn't able to find the second run. So I also felt that Osbo in his lead wasn't as high as Dean was on outside zone 1. So that was the main reason why I went the way I did. These are very high end runs. These are.
Dude.
You got to nitpick so much with these runs. You know, oftentimes we have runs where you go, "Oof, that was rough." They were not very pretty. To steal a line from Jared, in either case, right?
Right.
And in that one, you're looking at error to error, and those ones can be difficult as well. But sometimes you're counting errors. It's like, well, he made, a bobble on the bank, and he missed the touch and go, and he went a little bit wide on that clip, and the other guy was better on the bank, but he bobbled in zone 2, and then he was better on clip 1, but he was off on clip 2. And then it's trying to figure out what's worse. In this case, we were looking at some extremely high quality runs.
Right.
And you're trying to find the best bits of each guy's run, and there aren't a lot of errors to count. So in this case, it's a different type of analysis, and you kind of have to look at things a little bit differently. Otherwise, you're going to be running one more times all the time because they're so close. We did go from my notes one more time once, so we did have to try them again. But in the end, I felt that that Dean just did a better job.
Okay, Brian.
Brian, you're up to bat there, dude.
All right, hold on. I'm sending him a copy of the video.
Okay.
Oh, well, too late now. I've already given my 2 cents.
Oh, too bad.
You have
There you go.
David Carey's
I
commenting.
went
sorry.
with
Yeah.
Osbo. I mean, the yellow catches my eyes better, so I just thought he should win because
Right.
it looks prettier.
How much money did you get paid for that? How much money did you get paid for that?
I don't like Rockstar, so I didn't get paid anything.
Oh, son of a biscuit.
I watched it right before we did this call because I don't take notes. I thought that Osbo had a better outer zone 2 in his chase, and I think that's what it boiled down to. They both did good leads, but I think his mimic at the transition between interclip 1 and interclip 2 was also better timed. So we weigh heavy on that because you're basically anticipating what the other driver is going to do. And then I also thought he had a little bit better proximity at outer zone 1. I get that he didn't have as much angle, but he definitely, as soon as initiation happened, he engaged and was right on his door throughout the entire outer zone. So I feel like even if you took that and compared it to Dean's, where he gradually got closer with the same angle, I kind of made that like a wash. So it basically came down to the better getting out to outer zone 2 in the chase position and also the better mimic. So that's why I went with Osbo.
And once again, you guys are splitting hairs at this point. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so some of these runs, it's like you guys, it'd say, all right, we're going to go to the judges. And there's like a good 4 or 5 minute window there where you guys, I don't know what you guys do during that time besides play paper, rock, scissors. But I'm sure there's some time going through the video, I'm assuming, when you guys look at these runs. Is that what you guys are doing up there during that 3 to 5 minute window?
So a lot of times when you have that delay, it's not always us. Sometimes it is production. What I generally try to do is watch the run live, obviously come to a conclusion, watch the replay to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then from there, if I can't make a decision in 30 seconds, I go with one more time. And what's funny is that actually stemmed from a Seattle event, which took forever, I think like 3 years ago maybe. And afterwards, Jim Lau came up to me. He's like, hey, have you guys thought of like some type of way where if you can't make a call by a certain time doing this? And I was like, you know what? I'll try it when we go to Texas next round. If it works, then I might stick with it. And it stuck at Texas. And ever since then, I've been doing it that way. And it seems to work pretty good. I mean, sometimes it does seem like there's a lot of one more times. But I feel like if they are that close, and that's why I have to go that way, then it deserves or warrants that response, and we'll stick with it.
And that's something that we've talked about too. Is like, man, if you have to spend 4 minutes delegating who's going to win, run it again. Like if it's that close,
When we do that, that's because there's contact.
right? Oh, good point. Yep. If there's
Okay.
contact, then you guys would have to reevaluate the video, see if it was the lead or Chase guy's fault. Yeah, you guys definitely gave both perspectives, but it also gives you an look into what how a run is broken down and judged. My last question before we move on to fan questions is, what do you guys feel you would need to make your job? What's that?
Before we go to that, sorry, and save that thought.
Yeah.
Odie versus Robbie.
Oh, all right.
That's FD Canada.
So let's do a throwback to.
Yeah, let's go a little bit. A little bit of history. We saw Robbie Nishida leaving the track totally sideways into the dirt, and he still got the win. And I think I was a little confused. Like, what happened? Why is it that we didn't see that gave him the win in that run?
So we have designed the Excel decel map, as you guys know, to allow chase drivers to know where that lead driver is going to be making adjustments. Before we had the Excel decel map, we had a lot of instances where drivers were making corrections or checking up on speed in certain areas of the track that would cause the chase driver to either have to brake to avoid contact, spin, get out of the way. And we felt that because of what drivers were telling us, they were saying, it's really difficult to stay close. You guys want us to stay close. But then when we're really close, the lead driver makes a mistake or something, we end up spinning or losing proximity at that point because we have to brake. And then you guys give him the win, and you don't reward us for staying close. So we said, okay, we need something to allow those chase drivers to know where it is that they can stay close and be confident that the lead driver is going to be on throttle or not braking at the very least, or lifting or e-braking or anything like that. So with that in place, we found that we had a lot better tandem. The chase drivers knew that they'd be protected. The lead driver is only supposed to slow in those designated areas, and they can get really close and know where that's going to happen so they can prepare for it and know that, hey, this guy's going to start slowing down maybe in this area. I got to be prepared for this. And it's led to much better battles. So in Montreal, the Excel decel map was the last slowdown area was just before outside zone, what would that be, 2. So the second bank, right, the small inside bank. And after that, they should be on throttle. Leaving outside zone 2, they should maintain their pace. We understand that there might be a slight lift or a little, angle correction or something there. They're going to come through inside clip 2. They're going to stay on throttle all the way through inside clip 3 and then finish the course. So that was understood in the drivers' meeting. We had a big debate over it because some drivers wanted another extra slowdown zone after outside zone 2. We watched practice. We nixed it. That's how it stayed. In competition, we see Odie in the lead actually slow as he's approaching inside clip 3, and pretty significantly. There was a big lift there. You could hear the throttle being released. The smoke ended. His forward momentum was curtailed at the same time. Like he wasn't accelerating through there like a lot of drivers. And at the same time, you've got Robbie who's trying to maintain proximity through that area. So he's on throttle hard. He comes through the smoke. Odie's there slowing down where he's not supposed to be. Robbie tries to avoid the accident, throws the car off the track.
Oh.
In that case, would you say that we were wrong by saying that Odie was at fault for slowing in an area where he's not supposed to slow?
No.
Paco, answer that.
No, I mean, I guess now that you say it like that, it makes more sense. It's just, I guess, what, as a viewer.
Hold on a second. Ryan, what was your question? It was, if Odie slows in that area and Robbie goes, what was the question? Can you state that one thing in?
Can you fault us for putting the fault on Odie for not following the Excel decel?
Yes
map?
or no?
What would you think, right?
That they're not at fault. Like, I mean, the judges are not at fault. That they're right.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. The thing is, like, I mean, obviously we try to be as neutral as possible. Something that I realized this weekend is that we like so many of the drivers that we can't see them as our buddies, when they drive. We have to see them as numbers, which is something similar to what Osbo said. When I'm in the track, everybody I'm competing against is just my competitor. It's not my friend anymore at that moment.
Right.
As a fan, I think that's how we should be if you really want to be neutral. Like
That's tough.
I mean,
Yeah.
you obviously have to like. I mean, I'm talking about as a fan who
Right.
who likes everybody. You know, like I think I don't have any beef with any driver. On the contrary, I like them all. They're cool. I want to see them all succeed. And sometimes when you see them driving, it's definitely at some point like you know like I mean in this case Odie is one of our sponsors drivers. But I like Robbie as well. So it's kind of hard to just root for one in particular. But at the same time, when I was watching, like sometimes like you forget everything when you just see a car like shooting off the track, like everything else just like poof, out of the window, you know, because I guess like that's just human nature, you know, like we only see the thing that causes the most impact, and that's the thing that you remember the most. And I've seen it many times, like people saying like, oh, but this guy was so much closer to the other guy on initiation. Like, yeah, but then the rest of the run was terrible, you know, but that's the only part that you're remembering. So
yeah, and I want fans to have their drivers, to
100%.
like drivers. I get that, and you're not going to be able to take that away, and I don't want to take that away. I think it's healthy for the sport. It's healthy for the drivers. They need to have their fans, right? The only thing that fans need to understand is whether they love their driver or not. Drivers are going to make errors now and then. It's going to happen. And the only thing I ask is, I know it's difficult for us to get all the exact rules and regulations out. We do our best to try to disseminate that through the live stream, on the internet as well, whatever we can do really to get those rules out. Just when you look at that XL decel map and you see Odie slowing there, even as a fan of his, you have to say, okay, he shouldn't have slowed there because that's not an area where every single driver was told and agreed that they were, going to stay on throttle through there. That was the agreement that everybody made, so to speak. And in that case, the mistake that Odie made through there, the lift caused Robbie to go off the track. Now, people said, well, Robbie went off the track. He earned himself a zero, but that zero has to be transferred to the driver that caused the zero to occur, right? The incomplete.
Yep.
And in that case, Odie slowing down in an on-throttle area is what caused Robbie to go off. So Robbie can't shoulder that incomplete. It's got to be passed off to the cause. And the cause in this case was Odie.
Yep. I totally understand. I'm with you on that. Yep. And you can even go back to Tyler McQuarrie and Chelsea DeNofa in New Jersey.
Oh,
that was another interesting one.
Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation. I'm sure like we've been obviously bombarded by that. And
of course, it's understandable.
But so going to the question that I had right before that is, with all these, with driving getting tighter, you're splitting hairs at this point. You're having issues like Robbie and Odie. What tools do you think could be implemented to make your guys' jobs easier, if there's any? What would you guys like?
I think we're not working to try to implement different things. Yeah. We're behind the scenes. We're trying to develop systems that are, first of all, reliable. They have to be reliable. They can't be something that works, a third, half the time. That's not going to cut it.
Right.
Second of all, we want something that we don't want to implement as a fourth judge or a third judge, even for that matter. We don't see drifting being, looking back at what we were talking about, the technical days. We don't want to go back to that, even if it means using computers to do it. The super arcane, this is the way it's going to be. If you drop half a tire off, it's a zero kind of thing. So this has to be a tool to assist us, to give us information that can help us make better calls. So the big things would be kind of like Odie slowing down in Montreal. If you really want to be able to make that claim 100% official, if you will, it's good to have speed, right? You'd want to know what's going on there, whether it be what the car is doing immediately at that time, or you might have like a throttle position sensor. We can't do the throttle position sensor. I know that'd be ideal. So can we get speed? Can we get an accelerometer in there or something like that? So we're working on things like that to try to help us out. I think that would be ideal. Hey, an in-car camera that would feed to us live. That'd be awesome too. In the event of a collision on course, you'd be able to see what the lead car did from inside and the chase car. Was he yanking on the e-brake? Was he turning the steering wheel the opposite way that he's supposed to? Was he making an error before the contact? Did the car shut off? What was the contact? You never know, right? So that would be a big plus as well. But then it comes down to cost. What's it
Yeah.
going to cost? How difficult is it to implement it in each car? Is it something that we have like a dozen of and have to rotate between cars between runs? Or is it something you mount in each individual car and leave there? Is it something that the teams can toy around with and potentially adjust to their benefit? And, between rounds, that's another thing. It all becomes very sticky.
Brian, what about you?
I think you pretty much summed it up. In-car and some type of telemetry would be amazing.
Perfect. All right. With that being said, we're gonna go to the infamous
Instagram question.
fan questions.
Awesome.
Oh, I haven't even looked yet, so let's see.
Be gentle.
I
no.
hope not. I hope these
There's
dudes
no
just,
such
I hope
thing
these
as
guys just
maximum
bomb you
drift
guys
cast.
right now. I hope these guys just.
I have one right here from Kyle Cross. He's asking, any chance there will be an event in the future in the Midwest? It seems that besides Texas, FD kind of stays on the coasts.
I can't make any official announcements, but wouldn't it be cool if it happened? I think we should.
That'd be cool. And Brian must be on Tinder right now.
He's sliding right.
He's swiping. I don't know what he must be sliding to somebody's DM.
I'm just checking the Instagram to
all
see what's
those
on.
Oh, you're going through the
Ah.
IGs. All right, I'm gonna fire one off. This is more of a statement. This is from Mike Prez. He says Egger's stump skills are mediocre. That's a statement.
Wow.
Is
All right. Well, I guess I'm bringing a stump to the next US Drift round. I'm going to crush him.
Okay,
I
so
heard Brian's a champion.
here's one. Jewels of proper line to Mr. Platinum Lanteigne and Mr. Eggert. Marry, fuck, kill FD drivers.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It's your time to
Hey,
get
it's
revenge.
your time to get revenge. You guys this has probably been one of the most popular questions for the judges, but now here's
Yeah.
your
I
opportunity.
miss off the track.
Yep, I know, dude. So, do you know what, Ryan? Are you ready to fire it off? 3. Marry, F, kill.
Oh, okay. I have mine.
All right. And hold on, Paco. Are we doing modern day drivers or the history?
History? Let's do history.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why not? Or do you want to?
I don't know. Let's just do
modern. It's more
modern. Okay, more modern.
I think we should do the whole history.
Oh my God!
Oh, he just wants to do drivers that aren't driving anymore.
I know that's what, I know that's why I was like,
Totally want to do drivers that aren't driving anymore. That's where all the good ones were.
Cop out.
all right, Lanteigne, what do you got?
Okay, Switzerland. All right.
Mary.
I'm gonna do Mary Nishida
Okay.
because
Wow.
I've spent a lot of time with him.
You've seen him naked too.
You actually seen him naked.
Yeah. You go to the onsen in Japan where you got to be naked in there, whatever.
Wow.
No big deal.
I guess.
But it's because of his loving, caring, tender heart. He's a very, very thoughtful man.
And I heard Japanese
love it.
wives really would take care of their husbands, so you'd probably be taking care.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'd have to
Okay.
get him to shave that beard.
All right. Okay. So there's your Mary.
There's my Mary. My humpable one, you'd have to say that Honadel is the sexiest driver.
He's the most commonly chosen. Yep.
yeah,
commonly chosen.
tough one. Yeah.
So he'd be my fuck. And I'd have to kill Kristaps Blues because he scares me. And if he's dead, then I don't have to worry anymore.
But you're getting into the hard territory of the murder attempt. That'll be quite an endeavor. I think he's gonna be
You got to pull it off, right? Because if you fail, you're done.
Hey, how sketchy was you went to HGK? You went out and judged their event.
Yeah.
Did he almost
and I was
wipe
just in Belarus, too, where there are a lot more Russians that scare me as well.
I heard they hate
but everything's
Canadians.
Super nice.
Do they hate Canadians
Yeah,
out
they
there?
really hate Canadians. Yeah.
Because the Canadians are the angry, grumpy folks from the north.
So you have.
No, it's because I don't know what it's because of. I had to take my Canadian flag off my backpack when I was there. I was really
No
really worried.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
believe.
kidding.
I hope that was true. Yeah, I heard you're gonna try building a wall down our border too. So we'll try to knock that thing down.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we have
leave you guys
Robbie.
out.
We have
Robbie,
Robbie,
Alex,
Honadel,
Kristaps.
and Kristaps.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's,
All right,
see
let's hear what
Brian-
Egbert has to say.
All right, I'm going to go with Mary Conrad Grunwald because he makes bank nowadays. So he'd be able to take care of you because he's a Ferrari driver.
Dude, he is making tons of money, and I'm getting jealous of his Facebook post.
That
FS
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, if I get to go around and just travel with him, it'd be worth it.
But do you know what? If you do marry me, you'd be bored to death every single day.
Hanging around Ferraris at a racetrack, I don't know. That's a lot of travel.
Oh, you're gonna be like a trophy wife then.
Exactly,
So you're gonna be
that's the
kind
thing.
like Conrad. Do you need anything?
he
babe?"
marries Conrad so he can go fuck who?
So you marry him. Who's
So I'm actually going to go way back into the depths and pick like I think it's '05 driver. It was one of my best friends who got to drive an FD in a Lexus car back in it was the Lexus IS300 car. So my buddy Jerry McGovern.
okay? What was the reason behind that?
Oh, just because he's a good friend. So
That
it's
makes
fine.
sense. He probably won't tell anybody either.
Yeah, he probably would.
Yeah, this is not
guys
live.
should-
Nobody's gonna know.
I'd want to kill Chris Milano because he showed up to one of the pro-ams we did at Laughlin, and as soon as he knew he could keep his license, he left the competition and just bailed on everybody. So we had a buy run in
Ooh.
like top 8 once he figured out he had his points. So it pissed me off. Like,
Yep.
could have gone on and tried to win the event, but would rather leave when he had a win and just packed up his shit and left the event, which totally pissed me off.
Wow.
Yeah,
So somebody else in the top 4 had to have a buy or top 8. It pissed me off.
Okay,
What?
so we have Brian. Brian's answer is Conrad, McGovern, and Milano.
Yep. Not
So-
not a bad choice.
So now we're gonna see who gets the win. How about that,
Sure. I'm sure all of them do. If that's
Brian?
the case.
Brian,
Um,
Big Balls Brian. What do you think? Who gets the win?
Lanteigne, because he took the most risk naming curve.
One
Oh,
one
Lanteigne.
vote for Lanteigne.
All right.
He takes the most risk.
Paco,
Let me do.
you want me to go first? Because
Yeah.
I'm going Lanteigne because
You got Lanteigne?
because he's the risky biscuit here.
It's unanimous.
Oh.
Ryan Lanteigne gets the win.
Ryan has bigger balls right now. They're probably. Are you sitting in like cut the seat out of your chair so I can just dangle between your legs?
I don't know. Gregorian might come back and kill me soon. If I go missing, that's why.
All right, let's
Sorry,
go,
Brian.
Man, that was.
Come on, it was the Ninja Turtle car.
I
You
was
have
just
to
so
know.
happy you guys got
Who
the
doesn't know
revenge.
the Ninja Turtle car?
I was just happy you guys got the revenge on that question because you probably get that more than most. So
I'm surprised he didn't pick Gucci.
Gushi's up there. He'd probably be mine.
Well, he lost the abs.
He did lose the
He
abs.
lost the abs, and it's not the same anymore.
Man, that's a good point, Pac.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you know what this is?
I have a question.
Go for it.
From David Carey, real quick. Top five photographers in FD. They're looking for some self.
I'd say let's say do top 3. I don't know
Okay, top 3 photographers.
if you can name them.
So what? Top 3?
Larry
Yes.
Chen.
Larry Chen.
I don't know. A lot of
he
names.
doesn't know anymore.
I don't know.
Because you guys don't judge
Brian,
him every
you
single
fill in
day.
The other two.
All right, here I'll go with my list.
All right.
Alex Wong, Larry Chen, David Carey.
There you go. Boom.
Long and Carey. Okay.
Long Carey, is that one guy or is those two
He's the
different
one
last
who asked
names?
the question.
Long Harry Carey. All right. hold on. Let's
That's
keep going.
perfect.
All right. Go first. Okay, this is. I'm gonna.
David comes and shoots my event, so I had to mention him. So he'll probably come hang out with me at Street Driven Vegas coming up soon too. So gotta keep him there because he likes to hang out at the casinos.
There you go.
Shape
Yeah,
out
you have
all
one,
those.
Corey?
Yeah, I'm digging through it because
Okay,
there's a couple
I have
good ones
one.
here. Go for it.
Username Taylor Hall 82. Conspire, which that's Brian. When are we gonna do some tandem burnouts in Cadillacs? You still have your CTS?
When I get a second Cadillac, because I don't want to risk my daily driver.
Oh.
But I would love to do that soon.
There
I'm
you go.
excited to see his car come. I've known about it for a while, so the fact that it got released and everything makes me happy that it's truly going to happen.
Nice.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about, like very briefly. But I've been saying it since a while ago. Like I would love to see more Cadillacs on drifting.
We had, I don't know if you guys remember Techademics from way back when, and Mischief videos.
Okay.
But we had Dato used to have the yellow BMW. He got in 05, he got a dealership to give him a brand new Cadillac CTS-V, and he ran it in our US Drift Series for like a year or two. And they basically just gutted the interior, put a bolt-in cage in because we only required a 4-point
Yep, I
bin.
remember that.
And he ran it on ovals and road courses with us. And then, from what I hear, they pulled the cage back out, put the interior back in, and sold it.
Wow, what a beast!
But it was sponsored by a Cadillac dealership, and it was the coolest thing ever.
That's badass.
I remember that.
Yeah, Cordy, you had a Cadillac as well.
I did, yeah. And plus, I drove tons of GM cars.
Oh, yeah.
And those Cadillacs you guys had at Bondurant, they'll drift the
Yeah, they're-
hell out of those.
yeah,
Like
they're-
no big deal.
Yep. I just didn't want to spend time developing it. That's the only thing I didn't want to do.
That's what it was.
This is Gerald Hernandez. To each of you, what rule would you like to add, and what rule would you like to throw out the window?
Whoa.
I just hit you with the hard. Actually, Gerald did. I didn't. I just
Gerald. Way to get my brain working.
I don't like
That's a good
the. It's weird. It's like a culmination of rules. I don't like that if you have an accident happen in top 32, and even though there's an hour and a half long break, you can't technically fix your car. Like the fact that you have to pull back to the line and do a buy run when you know, like let's say 2 cars are driving, the chase car wrecks, hits you, but totals their car and it's totally their fault. Well, the lead car has to fix the car in say 10 minutes, even though we know we're going into top 30 or top 16 at halftime. Under the rule, they have to fix their car in the 10 minutes, even though they really have an hour and a half to fix it. I don't like that rule.
Good. And then I know Brian has to pull start his little Briggs and Stratton brain that he has in there. Get it fired up. What do you got there, Lanteigne? Anything?
That's a tough one. It really,
no
there
docking
are
before
rules
top
that
16.
I don't even really know about because they don't really refer to the judging aspect of things. Some of the more, I guess, like the one that Brian just mentioned, this stuff like that is outside of our purview, really. So I don't know them very well. I know they exist, but
Do you know what's funny is it's so interesting between both of your perspectives because you could tell that Brian is like totally involved with operations, understands the rule, like and you're just a one-man show. You're like, I judge, that's it. I block everything out. I do. It's just interesting. You kind of see that of both of you. But I'll give you buy on this one since you gave about 30 so far this year. This is from Alan Union. If you could be involved in any other motorsports other than drifting, what would it be and what would you be doing in that series? Oh, I hope you say like, I'm going to pick one for you, Brian. When we went to Hyperfest, I would have you being the truck that flips the cars over at your rollover competition at Hyperfest.
Oh, yes. See, we don't do that anymore, but I would love to do it.
Dude, Eggert, or not Eggert, but Lanteigne, have you been to Hyperfest?
I have never been to Hyperfest.
Dude, the year that I
went,
went,
he's never allowed me to come.
What the heck?
Oh, you're
dude?
always too busy traveling in Europe.
Oh yeah, So I went to Hyperfest and they had a rollover competition, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Rollover competition?
Oh yeah.
Like...
So yeah, like you drive a car, you hit a ramp, and you see how many times you can flip. Like
that. Awesome.
Yeah. So why would you not want to work that
That's
and just be
hyper.
the guy that flips the cars over? Like
Yeah, that would be the best because I had a buddy who builds cages for Grand M cars, build his own car to enter that, and he said it rang his bell and he would never do it again. So you definitely wouldn't be the guy that
dude, these guys literally like 4, 5, 6 times they know.
Probably like tape your head with a helmet to the chair or something to just like stay there.
I would tape yours to the chair and send you on your way. Lanteigne, what motorsports do you like? What would you be doing? I picture you as like more of a prima donna, like, hey guys, I'm here at Formula One. I'm going to be serving cocktails.
No. You know what? I'd love to be a driver again, but stadium super trucks would be fucking phenomenal.
That would be
I think.
cool.
Those jumps and the action, that even just like a corner worker for one of those events would be amazing because you'd be so close to the action. That would be awesome.
Red Bull Flutog tester.
Oh yeah, that'd be another good one. Put them on like one of those pigs with wings and just kick them off the end of the bridge.
Someone's got to test it to make sure it works, right?
Just test dummy. Paco, what do you got over there?
I have one right here that says, I don't know. No, I'm probably not do that.
I got one while you're looking for that. This is from the Dukester, Iron Dookie. What track or what area do you think FD should look at if they were to add another round? Or are you happy with the current 8 rounds?
No, like you guys mentioned earlier from that other question, in the Midwest, I think is probably the area that we're lacking right now. We've got the Southeast, we've got the Northeast, the Northwest, you've got Cali, we've got Texas. Where else could you really go? It's Von Gittin always brings up Detroit. He'd say, why don't we do an event in Detroit? I know they've looked at the Belle Isle Grand Prix, but it just wouldn't work, unfortunately. There's some kind of organizational, I don't know, quagmire there that won't allow them to do it. But that would be a cool one, I think, especially for the American manufacturers. But somewhere in that area, the people there haven't had an event. What was the last time they were in Chicago?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever have.
Right?
Or it's been way too long. But
been way too long. We should do an event somewhere in that area. I hope that someday in the future it'll happen. Again, above my pay grade. I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully.
Paco, do you got any more questions, or is that a wrap on fan
real
questions?
quick, Milo is not cool. is asking, please break down the call between Mad Mike and Angry Gray one more time, 3 times at Formula D Ebisu.
Yeah, we went over this one with Mike last weekend, actually, at Fuji. He still didn't understand at that point. I told him, you should have come and talked to me at after the event in Ebisu. He couldn't find me. So it kind of stagnated, I think, between that round and Fuji. So when we're talking to the drivers in the drivers meeting, we always tell them that they need to run that 100-point lead run. In the chase position, you've got to be close for the most amount of time as possible and mimic what the lead driver's doing. In those battles against those 2 drivers, 3 battles actually it was, Mad Mike would consistently win the chase run. He was always right on Andy Gray's door. He did a really good job. But I felt that Andrew Gray was winning the lead because Mad Mike kept missing very slightly. Again, this is a couple of high level runs. This is kind of like the James Dean and Osbo runs from Seattle, where you're nitpicking little things. Consistently, they were making the same errors on each run, basically each battle. They were making the same mistakes. And in this position, we were all looking at each other up there saying, I hope their spotter is telling both of them to fix the errors that they're making so that the next run or the next battle, they fix those mistakes. Because we were watching going, Mike, you're just missing here a little bit. You're missing there a little bit. And even with him missing a little bit, Gray was right on his door doing a great job making the chase look really good. And then on the lead, we had Gray doing a really good job, so he'd win the lead. And then Mad Mike would win the chase because he was doing a phenomenal chase that we felt was just a little bit better than Gray. So that's how it kept going. In the very last run, Andy actually fixed a couple of his little mistakes. Mad Mike, unfortunately, made the similar mistakes again. So I had to talk with a spotter and tried to explain to him, you got to help your driver out. And maybe it's on us to be help out with a little bit more education. In the U.S., we do spotters help. So we will sit in the spotter stand during pre-qualifying practice, and we will allow each spotter to come up and talk to us and say, look, my driver's coming up. Can you watch him and then critique that run so we can know what we need to fix? But in Japan, it's really difficult because I don't speak Japanese. Robbie's the only one that's there that does speak Japanese. And a lot of the spotters don't speak English. So we don't have that opportunity to sit there and be fair with all of them, unfortunately. And that's what I think it comes down to in Japan is having that little one-on-one with the spotters and give them a good feedback so that they can tell their drivers what to fix ahead of time, as opposed to waiting until the event and us being up there frustrated going, he just needs to do this a little bit better, hopefully on the next run. And then they don't do it again. And we say, okay, well, I can't really reward anything. You're not fixing your mistakes and getting out to where you need to be.
Is what it is.
Yeah, that's the best that I can explain it.
Well, that was all we needed. And
right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Before we let you guys go, we're doing a little Grid Lives tickets giveaway. So we're gonna ask you guys to choose a number to help us choose who's gonna get the ticket. So Brian, can you choose a number between 1 and 10?
1.
1, okay.
Okay.
Ryan, one number between 1 and 15.
11.
Oh, turn it up to 11.
Perfect.
That's a lot of ones. That's actually 3 ones.
Triple ones. There you go.
Triple ones. Triple singles.
We'll give you the tickets away in a little bit. But, guys, is there anything else you want to ask?
I think I've talked enough. You guys are probably sick of listening to me.
No, dudes. Honestly, I was really stoked on this. Yeah. Honestly, and I think for me having all these questions, I'd probably talk to you guys about these same questions anyways. I just wouldn't have it recorded on the internet, but I would still ask these things. And I appreciate you guys being as open as you have been. And the whole purpose of this was to clear any questions that we've had or the fans had that left them scratching. But also the other thing, if this helps in any way, taking bad taste out of people's mouth, thinking you guys are the culprits of bad calls or the culprits of changing the rules and regulations, and if we can help clear that up,
sponsor money,
the corporate sponsor money. I think that's all what we were trying to do with it, and to get you guys both on here at the same time, I think would help a lot with that. So I appreciate you guys, Thank you guys.
And once again, thank you, Ryan, for all those takeovers you did over at
yes,
Gadsville.
dude, Lanteigne,
On
you're the
fire,
man with the takeovers. And Eggert, hopefully we can do one with you, like a U.S. Drift event or anything
Sure.
that you have coming up. We'd love to have you guys
Hey,
do that again.
how about you come out to Street Driven in Las Vegas? It's not far from you.
I'd
And
be
you can
there.
Drive your car.
Let's do it. I'm down. Sign us up.
When-
We'll
when
all
is
go
that
out there.
happening?
There you go.
When is it?
September
nice.
23rd. It'll be right around my birthday. And I think it's around Matt Field's birthday, too. So if we can talk him into come out, he can party, too.
I'll be
And
there.
David
Oh, we
Carey,
know he
David
can
Carey
party.
loves to party in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, and plus last year you guys had a rowdy event. I remember like a car catching on fire. Was that Vegas?
I don't think it was in Vegas. We had a car catch on fire at Hyperfest this year.
Oh,
but-
that's right. Burnout contest,
Burn
right?
out the Big
Yeah,
Beata.
gotta. Went up
Ah.
in flames. But no, Street Driven Vegas is good. You can do it with in Vegas. So it's a pretty good good time. Plus, it's in Vegas, so who doesn't need an excuse to go there?
Right. No, I will. I'm going to talk to Paco and Sam after this. Maybe we'll make a hike out there and turn into like a fun trip because we can use that. And the thing is Street Driven Tour is another one of those fun events where you can go out there, party at night, and do a bunch of cool driving throughout the day. You're going to be in our neighbor town in Vegas. Why the
Yeah,
hell not?
we got Powers
Why not?
and Forsberg confirmed right now, so
Oh,
I'm sure we'll
dude.
get more as it gets closer. The event's still like 6-7 weeks out, so
Yeah.
as it gets closer, we'll announce more. But yeah, if you want to come out, we
Dude.
can make something happen.
Let's do it. We're all in. Sign us up.
All right,
I'm
awesome.
in.
So see us at Street Driven. Also, when it gets close, if you have any like media stuff you'd like for us to put out, please do because we'd love to help
Totally.
you any which
I'd
way
like
we
to see
can.
the Tofu Drift fan make it out there.
Oh God.
It might be happening sometime soon. My van, unfortunately, it hurt pretty bad. Our mechanic is Corey's main mechanic, Keith Johnson
At Merca.
at America Motorsports.
Dude, he was underneath Paco's van and like ripped his head
'Cause
up.
okay, so let's set it up real quick.
Well, let's make it short because I gotta
yeah.
go. But anyways, underneath Paco's car, and keep in mind Paco's car is getting a 1J put in it right now. So if that's
The van.
that's the explanation of why it's down. But while he was under it, he ended up like doing a pull up because Paco has all like these cross members underneath the van. So it's like this is just a pull up van. So he ended up
this
doing
is
a
a
pull up
pull-up.
and
It's
giving
6.
himself 13 stitches in the head. But
Nice.
yeah, so that's Paco's story that I told
So-
for him.
How
But
many miles are on your van?
How many miles?
yeah, how many miles are
Yeah.
on?
330,000 plus.
Yen's got you beat. His got over 500.
Yeah.
500,000.
Yep. Soon the 1J is gonna have a couple miles on it. But,
Yeah, it's like a brand new engine, anyways.
but anyways,
Add those
guys,
to it.
get some rest. Thank you guys for everything. Seattle was awesome. You guys are awesome, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks for the
awesome.
platform to talk to all your fans, guys. We appreciate it too. Anytime you need us, let us know.
Awesome, brother.
Anytime.
All right, guys, take it
Anytime.
Don't
easy.
forget,
And
I like chocolate edible arrangements. Make it
yeah,
happen
me
in
too.
Texas.
we tried getting that worked out in Texas
we
or
couldn't
in
find,
Seattle,
we couldn't
but
find one in Seattle, but you guys just sit tight.
just sit on your britches. We'll be there in a
Hold
minute.
tight.
All right, boys, take it easy. Have fun.
You guys
All right,
Peace.
later.
see you later.
Deuces.
Bye. And there you go. Perfect.
Who gives them the right to judge anybody?
Who gives them the right to judge? What do you think, Brian? Which one's your favorite out of those two?
Who are they again?
Yeah.
He says, "Who are they?"
Yeah. If you had to marry F kill those two, you only have to pick one. Who would you pick?
To do all three
Yeah,
things
to do all
them?
three with
Jeez, man.
Lanteigne.
Maybe Andy Jan for not being here.
Andy and
Andy
yeah.
Yan. For
I wonder
not
what he
being
was
here.
doing.
Oh, he told me he had a very busy Monday.
Oh, what does that mean?
I don't know, but I still want to do an
He's the most
episode
hated judge, and I can see
from,
why now.
From his
I could see why
laundromat.
everybody hates him. He flakes on everything.
What a
He's too
doy-
busy doing laundry.
What a doy.
He's a dumb doy.
Yep. Well, let me pick up the winners of our Instagram contest this time, Corey, real quick.
Okay,
So-
drum. Do we need a drum roll or anything?
Give us a drum roll, Corey.
Beep 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 beep. I'm gonna give you a song instead. Beep 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Paco's picking the winners. Beep 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 beep. Pick the winners, Paco.
I have
You got the. Do you got a winner?
our
Oh
number.
nope, he's still counting. Dim,
right
dim,
here.
Beep 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 beep.
Instagram.
Oh,
And Ryan Colliner, 7:30. You are the winner of 2 tickets for Grid Life in Atlanta, and it's happening in 3 weeks, Corey.
I believe so. Good life, 3
So
weeks.
I'm sending you a message right now, and he's getting the tickets on Instagram. And now the giveaway for the tickets on Facebook. Brian,
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Bing dong, ding
There
dong.
you go.
What do
the
you got?
winner is Nate Spinks.
Nate Spinks gets the
You
win.
won. Congratulations.
Hey, hey, Big Balls was trying to Google an applause, but it came up with like some rap songs. But I think you should just typed in applause or I know put in cheer and like cheerleading came up. Couldn't find anything.
Let's just turn into cheerleaders right now.
Yeah.
Hey, woo, congratulations.
Wow, I was pretty pumped on this show there, boys.
That's a good.
Yeah.
I love having these guys
I'm
over.
glad they were on the show.
Seriously, and one of the things that I forgot to talk to them about is like they're available. Oh my God!
There it is.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Brian.
tuning in.
They're available for everybody. Like you don't get a sport where the judges or the people who's in charge is so proactive with the fans. Like
Right.
they go and comment and argue and they do it because they like the sport and because they do care about the fans.
Right.
They're not. I mean, you kidding? Like if they had all that sponsored money and all that, the script and all that, they would like whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back swimming to my nus full.
Yep. Maybe we'll just go to all robot judges and get rid of all of them. Anyways, guys, what do you got?
Before we go,
I was going to thank somebody. Is that what you were going to do?
who?
I was going to thank everybody.
Let's do that.
All right. So, did I take the words right out of your mouth?
We
Kinda.
can start with
All right.
one of the.
So let's start off with this. We got to thank AM Intakes. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having us at FD Seattle. You'll see us at FD Texas, and you'll see us at FD Irwindale. AM Intakes, guys. They're a huge supporter. They are one of the reasons why we were able to get to the events that we do.
Their booth was pretty much like right there in the entrance you get in there.
It was dead nuts
right
center.
there. Your car was there. We had how many drivers?
8 drivers.
8 drivers plus the 3 of us. Which I mean we don't count, but we try to make
we're there.
things more.
Also, McLeod. Thank you guys for supporting the show and
Turner Series.
Yep, McLeod Tuner Series. You guys are awesome. They also support a lot of other FD drivers. The other thing, dudes, is we don't always just like people that support the show. We like people that support the sport of drifting because that's what allows the sport to grow and that's what allows us to keep doing what we're doing. If the sport didn't have any sponsors, then guess what? We would probably be talking about Bikram yoga.
Cooking.
We'd be talking about cooking. We would be Big Balls. What else would we be talking about?
Video games.
Let's see. Video games. So those are other things we could talk about if there wasn't any other sponsors in the sport of drifting. So thank you guys all.
McLeod was there at the track.
Yep,
as well.
we
had
ended
a
up
chance to
meeting
talk
up
a
with
little
Joe and
bit.
meeting up with obviously we're with Chris all the time and the rest of the FD staff, and then also Paco.
And for the last, the people we want to thank is our Patreons.
Yep.
Our Patreons. We have new Patreons this week.
All right, let's thank the new ones.
So Carlos de Jesus,
hey,
he was already a Patreon, but he up.
What a good sir.
He went up to $5. Thanks so much, Carlos. We appreciate it. We also have Ryan Griffith. He's pledging with $5.
Let's see if Ryan. Let's
Appreciate
see
it a lot.
if, there we go. Here we go.
And
Go ahead. Keep going, Paco.
We also have Brad Davis, new patron. He just joined us this week. And just a reminder from a couple of the new patrons who joined us last week. Itkiani Kamulet. He's got a different name, but that's the name it says right now.
Cool. Let's keep going. What
Chris
else do you have?
Bulow, Crenshaw, Buddy Crenshaw from
There you go.
From RTR, from Von Giddens' team. Alan Buchanan, Andy Eichner. I'm just murdering
Keep going,
people's
Paco.
names.
We love it.
And I think that's it for now. But this week we are sending the $3. That's a lot of applause, right? This week we're sending the rest of the $3 Patreon pledges swag packages. We'll have AM stickers, hats, and stuff in there. So don't worry, guys. Your stuff is finally on the way.
With that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow Paco at Tofu Drift Fan 2F Performance. You can follow myself at Corey Hosford. That is my first and last name put together with no other symbols. And then you can follow Drift Idiot Sam Nelvin at Drift Idiot. Please leave a message on his Instagram saying thank you for missing the show.
And also find Brian at 8-Bit Brian.
8-Bit Brian. If you guys want to see what Big Balls looks like, you can go to 8-Bit Brian. But thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Had a great show. We will see you guys next week sometime.
And cut. There you go. Look at that.
I mean,
Good night. Good night, Corey.